What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Nerve Rage Radio, episode 212. No, 213. Last week was 212 because that's where the players dwell.
213, is that how you throw
it is the 213. We should have started with... so let's talk about 213. Favorite artist of 213, which was originally Warren G, Nate Dogg, and Snoop Dogg.
Correct. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, Joe, are you familiar with this?
Yes.
This musical trio? They never released an actual album together.
Correct.
Right. So, gosh, it's... I mean, I always liked Nate Dogg. I never had a whole Nate Dogg album.
No, he did have one.
I know. I never picked one up.
No,
I read a very sad article towards the end of his life where it got into where people were, paying him with bags of dope for singing hooks. And he's like, that's great and all, but I can't pay my mortgage with a bag of dope, and I don't want to sell dope. Well, you know what I mean. It's like, hey man, let me get you. I'm gonna break you off some for coming and singing a hook, and it's
singing
like,
for a joint is crazy.
Yeah,
all those guys, rose to fame so quickly, like when the Chronic came out, and Nate, what kind of broke my heart is we never got a true Nate Dogg and Warren G out, just them two, because Regulate was just such a great song.
Yeah, but they would need to be like all 80s samples. I feel like,
and I think the potential would have been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't disagree.
I mean, I like Snoop Dogg's early stuff, but I think after when he got on No Limit, it's like, okay, dude.
The Dog Father. So, I would say Nate Dogg is probably my favorite, but Snoop Dogg is probably the best, objectively.
True.
Joe, do you have an opinion?
Snoop Dogg is the only one's album I've ever owned.
Yes, I can say that too.
Yeah.
Same.
I would have to say
that. Oh, you didn't own Warren G's album?
No, I had the single. I had the single.
I had the album because he says, "What's next?"
And it was on the Above the Rim soundtrack too, wasn't it?
Was.
I had that soundtrack.
Because there's a line, a Warren G line, he says, "What's next? What's next? What's NXET?" And nobody caught that through all that production. He misspelled "next" on an album, and how many people's hands did that have to go through?
I would like some listener to look up the executive producer of that album and let me know where they are right now. Chances are they deserve to be there.
Or they might be running Universal.
Wouldn't that be nuts? Wouldn't that be nuts? So let's just get into it. What did you do this week? There's a couple discussions I want to have today, so I'm pretty excited. One of which is about the Joker. There's a lot to talk about regarding the Joker. I want to get into a discussion regarding that film. And then secondly, I want to talk about these sexy Transformer pictures that are
Yeah, I think we might have to take a break and look at this. I mean, honestly, it's nothing like that.
Risque?
Yeah, it's just the fact that this thread's been going for 4 years.
Yeah.
And that people continue to post these pictures.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into both of those, obviously. Joe, how was your nerd week?
Boring. Chris has been gone for a week. She just got back last night, picked her up.
How was her trip?
Great. Good time. If you follow her on Instagram, you see all her adventures.
Nice.
But so when she's not home, I don't adult very well. Like I've been eating protein bars and protein shakes for dinner. Unless I'm being fed by somebody else.
Yeah.
Like when we went Crab Fest.
Crab Fest was good.
I showed up super late, but it was fun.
That was a great time.
That was a good time for me as well. That's the first time I feel like I've ever seen you throw caution to the wind.
Oh yeah, you were
loose.
I was super loose.
It was great.
I needed it.
You were having fun.
Yeah.
I've been so busy, guys.
It was good to see. It was like you
I needed a break.
You have a tendency to stay reserved and in social environments, and I've never seen you just be like, fuck it, I'm just having a good time. And it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable to see.
It was a good time in safe spaces, so to speak.
Yeah.
I would never get that way at a big get together or anybody, because I don't like. I mean, I never felt like I was out of control. Obviously, and having Kelly there to drive and whatnot,
Right.
It was
no responsibility.
Yeah, that's
listen, those White Claws are dangerous, folks.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm gonna have to go on record and say that those are not my White Claws.
Listen, I will take.
I got picked apart like those crabs.
I know you did,
thinking they were my White Claws.
And I meant to comment that I will take full responsibility for the White Claws. And I didn't bring enough, right, Robert?
Robert was fucking lit too.
Yeah. Well, see, Robert
was more lit than you.
Robert brought the whiskey, and I wasn't in a whiskey mindset, but 2 shots in, you're in the whiskey mindset.
Robert showed up at late, but still earlier than anybody else. And he walked in, and he was like, I need a drink. And Laura was like, well, we have water, like ice, we can get you ice cold water, thinking that because he's had this long drive, he could probably, he's parched. And he was like, oh, yeah, great. So we got the ice water, made the ice water and all that, gave it to him, had like a little filler up bottle next to him that he could, get ill. And so then Laura had to go take Jaina to a basketball game. And as soon as she walked out the door, he was like, Scarlett! And Scarlett came down, he gave her the water and started pouring himself shots of Jameson. Another funny thing about that was we ended up going down to the basement, taking a look around at stuff, having some discussions about display and, and kind of the vibe of stuff. And it was good. It was a good talk. But he was looking at all the new dioramas. And he loved like a lot of the Star Wars ones, and he loved the X-Mansion. And then we got to the Transformer ones, and I was like, "And this one here, this is the Golden Lagoon." And he went, that was the response.
It sounds just like him.
And I started laughing so loud. And then he had all these ideas for me on how to fix it. But he was like, "Wait, you just make it the pool." And I was like, "I can't make it the pool, Robert, because I'm getting a different astrotrain, a different Blitzwing. Like, they won't fit. Like, they're not accounted for." And he's like, "No, you just redo it afterwards." I'm like, "Man, I'm not doing redo." But anyway, continue. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure, as it goes on.
Yeah, that was real cool. I also had French toast Monday.
Mm-hmm.
That was another meal I had.
Mm-hmm. You were impressed I cut it up for you?
Yeah, I was like, oh I get to sit at the kids' table with the kids with my cut up French toast and pre-syrup.
When I am preparing your French toast, I like a certain presentation to it. So I like it to look like this pile of French toast with just smothered in syrup. Like,
yeah.
That's important to me.
That was about to hit you up yesterday. Was going to ask if you were having French toast. Because I was fucking tired of protein bars, man.
Yeah, what did I make yesterday? No, Laura made dinner yesterday. You could have came. We had chicken and rice.
I want French toast.
It's I think it's either Diner Nuggets or Wheels tonight, depending on how I'm feeling.
So this is what you need, Joe. You need to get an air fryer. Are you familiar with air fryer?
No, I don't cook.
Well, this isn't cooking. This is like maybe advanced microwaving, but probably not that.
It's the cooking method of microwaving.
And I know it's never going to be Bobby's French toast, but they make these French toast sticks you can buy.
Dude,
for children.
Sonics.
Yeah, it's literally it's the same thing. And you put them in the air fryer for like 5 minutes.
I have to make them.
Dude, you open a fucking door,
do you realize
dump them in and press
I could microwave stuff at home, but I eat protein bars instead.
I eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches almost every day.
I don't even eat that.
Because
you have no idea what kind of child I am.
I can imagine. I mean, I know. Listen, you need somebody to keep you on course, right?
Yeah, I didn't do anything.
That's half the reason.
All week, like
women.
I worked, I worked out, and I slept, and I think that's all I did all week.
And had a couple chills.
Yeah, and I had the chills.
Not because you were sick.
Getting back,
I was confused. Like, no.
Getting back to the cutting French toast, have you guys ever known, like, a couple, like grown people, like where one will cut the other's food up for him in public?
No.
So I have a guy I used to work with, my last job. This dude completely outpunted his coverage. I mean, I love the guy to death, but he's not ever going to win a beauty pageant. And his wife is like, she's pretty hot.
Good for him.
He cuts her steak up like.
Oh, no wonder she sticks around. You just show up, but you know what? Steak is a funny beast, though, because I'd have somebody cut up my chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they didn't have health insurance and they were just with me for my health insurance or something, I'd be like, look, when I sit down at the table, I want my chicken cut. And like, I only want the florets of the broccoli. Like, don't treat that shit like a bag of weeds. I don't want to see any stems on that shit whatsoever.
That's what Nate Dogg should have been saying.
Even if, oddly enough, asparagus, I'm the opposite. I would rather not eat the flower part and just eat the stalk. So if they were just with me for my health insurance or my benefits or my retirement or something, I'd be like, okay, this is even share. I'm with it. Makes sense. But steak is one thing where I would be like, nah, I got to because it affects the steak. Like if you had that shit cut up and laying on the plate, it's different.
Cool down
it's different than when you cut it up on. You know what I mean? And I like to eat the steak, so to speak.
And I mean, I've been out to eat with them
from both sides, so that I end up in the middle for my last bit.
I've been out to eat with them several times, and I mean, I got to the point towards I haven't seen the guy in years. Well, I haven't seen them in years. I actually ran into him a couple times recently. But, I always say, you going to cut my steak up too?
I mean, I wouldn't mind cutting steak off with somebody or having my steak cut. I mean, or my meal cut up. But I'm like, it's just a thing you don't think about doing or having done.
Right.
Unless it's like for your grandma or some shit.
And I'm funny, I'm funny about my steak, man. Like I eat it very rarely, so it's special.
I'm really wanting some steak right now.
Yeah, me too.
I'm having steak for dinner tonight.
Nice.
So it's special when I have steak because we don't get it all the time. It's expensive. We got all these kids. So like when I have steak, like sirloin is top sirloin is the bottom of my acceptance.
What? It's only 3. It's only sirloin, ribeye, and fillet.
Yeah, but there's bottom sirloin and there's flank.
Yeah, I don't count those. That's not steak.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
See, I love a flank steak.
I mean, I like them, but when I say I'm going to eat steak, that's what I'm thinking about. If I'm eat like
a sirloin,
taco meat
I like
or fajitas or some shit.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm top sirloin, fillet. That's all. I make too much money for that other shit. No, but
sorry, you ground turkey motherfucker.
but it's just that I don't get it often. So when I get it, I want it to be the best.
Yeah.
So I'm funny about the way I cut it. Like I want the thickness of the cut to be, and then I dip it in ketchup, which drives people nuts. But I want that ratio to feel away. So I don't want anybody cutting my fucking steak.
Yeah.
Bobby's the guy who buys a 500 horsepower Mustang and puts fucking spinner rims on it. That's fucking steak with ketchup right there. Yeah,
but I've tried. See, that's the thing. I've tried it all.
And you know what I say? I say if I'm in a restaurant and they bring me a steak and they say, do you need A1 or Heinz 57? I say, are you not confident your guy knows how to cook this steak? And they say, what do you mean? I said, why would I want to put that on a steak? I don't want to ruin it.
So I've tried it plain. I've tried it with Heinz 57. I've tried it with A1. I've tried it with, Joe Schmo's steak sauce. I've tried it with garlic butter. I've tried it.
That's good.
I've tried it with the Anjou. I've tried all of it, and I just prefer it. Ketchup. And I wish I didn't.
Chris, you can't help genetics, man.
I'll tell you that there might be some truth to that.
I mean, that's some white boy shit. Right
that's
there,
what I'm saying.
That's some fucking white boy shit.
The other thing is that I had one time it makes for an uncomfortable waiting a table restaurant experience and the best time I ever had was I was at Ruth's Chris and I had a waiter that he didn't tell me he was gay, but if he told me he was straight, I would have been shocked.
Okay, fair.
You know what I mean? Like he had it turned up to 11, which made him super entertaining. And actually, I was pissed that he wasn't our waiter; that he ended up being our backup waiter or whatever.
So what you're saying is he had a lot of sauce on it.
He had a lot of sauce,
so to speak.
Yeah, I mean,
add that into this saucy conversation.
So when he sat me down at my table, and then
did he pull your chair out?
No. And we were talking, ordering, etc. Then I ordered my steak, and when it came to my table, he was like, "Can I get you anything else?" And I was like, "Yeah, but look, I'm uncomfortable asking for it. I usually order the fries so that I don't have to ask for it. I need some ketchup for this steak." And he just looked at me and he started shaking his head violently. And he was just like, SMH. And I was like, dude, this guy's awesome. We left him a $50 tip because he fucking hooked us up all night.
With ketchup.
He was on it.
You get the little metal cup of ketchup. I didn't give you a bottle.
Yeah. That's how you know it's fancy.
You get a little metal cup.
That's when they charge you for that ketchup.
That's that stainless steel ketchup, Mac. So continue.
That's it.
Let's talk about Crab Fest a little bit more.
I want to let you tell the stories.
I'm trying to think. So I threw Robert into the crab table.
You fucking tackled him.
Yeah, it wasn't
ground.
It wasn't that. Robert got real touchy feely, right? Early.
He did.
Yeah. As soon as I came in, he picked me up.
Yeah, he came in and he just started so look, I'll put all my cards on the table. He was rubbing Tyler's shoulders and he started rubbing my shoulders, and it was feeling good for me. I was letting him roll with it, and I'm usually funny about people touching me, but I was like, man, I'm gonna go with this because he's doing it. And then as I was around him, he kept pushing and little casual. So I was I'm trying not to go into that space. And then eventually I just got it. I looked at him and I was like, man, he looked like he'd be a fun dude to fight, man, because you're so big,
right?
And then one thing led to another. Before he knew it, he tried to knee me. and I think he got it off a little bit, the knee, and then I grabbed his knee and I pushed him back, and then he went down, the table went down, and or not down but back, and then we had to clean up.
Didn't break the window.
No, and then we had to clean up crab off.
That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then we had to clean up crab off the floor before Laura got home.
And it only happened because you guys weren't supervised by Laura.
Correct.
I actually said that to Kelly. I was like, I don't think that would have happened with Laura. No shenanigans.
Not a chance. Then we had a little fire pit, little s'mores action.
Yeah, man.
Then Joe
and then he tries to catch us on fire.
He did.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wearing pants today.
We're sitting around this fire pit and it was all fine, and then fucking Bobby did something and made the fire real big and was literally touching the both of us.
Yeah, it started licking off a little bit, but it was just it wasn't a big deal. I brought the garden hose out just in case it got out of hand.
And then Phil somehow stepped on the garden hose without looking and sprayed Robert and Jaina.
Oh man!
Like that's like some cartoonish shit right there. You can't even plan that shit if you tried.
Phil stole Robert's tennis ball. That's another thing that happened.
But Phil brought ice cream cake.
Yes, he did.
He always brings some good shit. He brought me cream soda from, I don't know. Hey, Phil, hit me up with where the cream soda came from. That shit was great.
It's Vernon's. It's pretty regularly available, like at grocery stores.
I don't shop either.
Well, it's probably on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
And then
Tyler was there. Tyler F.
Yes.
And
yes.
Justin. It was good to see Justin.
Yeah.
I hardly ever see him.
Yeah. And he was cool.
He was in good spirits.
Yeah, him and Adele went out the next day and got more crabs.
Nice.
Really? Like at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who all actually ate crabs and knew how to eat crabs?
Because
it seems like everyone was sitting around not knowing what to do.
Tell him, Daddy.
I kept saying to Chris, I was like, you want me to pick some for you? And he was like, yeah. I was like, Daddy got you.
I said, if you hand it to me, I'll eat it. Dude, he called me in from the other room. Chris. Yeah. Here.
Like a fucking puppy.
So I kept leaving little piles.
What cracked me up, you said, I asked for a paper towel, and you said, I'm tired of handing napkins to people eating shrimp. Because I was fucking up the shrimp.
Yeah, the shrimp were like destroyed.
And those were from just this place right here?
Mm-hmm. And actually, the crab, I mean, we only had, I think, like less than a dozen left the next day. And then we made crab dip with it. It was top shelf.
Nice.
Phil,
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Laura's crab dip is my favorite crab-related food item in the world.
It's the shit. So Phil was eating and knew how to, and I gave a quick instructions for everybody else. And then everybody ate them. I mean, Chris and them didn't, but like Tyler F had some. I don't know if he went back for seconds. I never watched, but he may have.
Robert didn't follow directions, so it was hilarious.
Yeah, like everything.
Just tearing things.
Yeah, I don't even think he was trying. Like I don't even know if he actually had any.
And he just beat up the crab.
Yeah, because like when I was talking about picking out the pick at the bottom, like the little arrow, he like just stuck the knife into the crab. Like you know what I mean? Like he was just being Robert.
It's not hard. I had to get my Asia on.
Yeah, you perched up on a little seat.
That was wild.
And then Joe told me that he can't tell the difference between Chris Brown and Kanye West, which I still think is fucking nuts.
I mean, I couldn't remember like when you play something. I was like, I said, I
don't
think I like
musically
this.
You can't.
Yeah.
Because he played something, and I was like, I said something about not liking this Kanye, and he was like, this is not Kanye. I'm like, oh shit. And then he played something else that was Kanye,
See,
and then the part of. And I said,
I'm very confused right now.
And then I was commenting on it, but then apparently it wasn't Kanye on the song that he was playing on.
Yeah, when I loaded up, so I was like, I compared a Chris Brown record to a Kanye record, and I queued it up at the hook. And then Joe was like, no, see, I can't tell the difference. And I was like, it's because it's a guy singing, Joe. Wait till it gets to the verse.
And I thought it was Kanye was singing, but it wasn't him singing either.
Correct.
So it's like,
but
really
then it got to the verse.
To
but I think but then like.
I mean, Chris Brown can actually sing.
Yeah.
Kanye can auto-tune some shit.
I would say Chris Brown is like nowhere near the same star magnitude, but I would say he's probably today's Michael Jackson. Like heavy dancer.
Yeah.
Huge arenas. Kind of more of a pop artist and an R&B artist, but kind of comes from the R&B fruits. I think it's like a diet Michael Jackson.
Diet. Well, I don't know.
He's a hell of a dancer. It's not the same impact as Mike.
No, it's a different world though. I mean, even if he was exactly the same,
yeah,
so much other stuff there.
But musically, I think there's a bigger conversation to have, just kind of briefly, but we'll get there. Chris, your nerd week.
Pretty low key. I read Batman Year One. I finished that. Excellent book. Thank you for the loan. Been reading that Detective
Gotham
Central. I'm probably about halfway through that omnibus.
That's the longest book you've never known the title to, would you say?
I just can never remember the name of it.
It's just like 1,000 pages.
There's some
he doesn't know the name of it every week.
There's some fucked up shit going that happens in that story. I don't know how much of it has lasting impacts on anything else.
Right.
You know, it's told from the point of view of the cops, and this Gordon's retired, so he's not there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's kind of around in the background a little bit, but he's not a main character. You know, Batman's kind of, he comes and goes, and it's funny because there's this one part they're like, how long are we going to let this go on waiting on him to fix it? Because they're waiting on him to come fix what's going on. And, of course, he gets around to it, and, like, how many people are going to die before this shit happens?
You know, I'll tell you, Gordon is obviously a special character. You know what I mean? He's a certain level of dedication and commitment to his job. But in general, aside from Gordon, fuck people that retire and then want to hang around. You know what I mean? Like, you will never see me again.
Yeah. Get the fuck. What are you doing? Why do you retire if you're so boring that you have to stay around and hang around at work?
The last parts store I ran, the guy who had been the manager was he was in his 60s. He had to be super nice guy, but he retired but stayed on part time. Just like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You really want to work here 2 days a week? Which ended up being like 5 days.
I have nothing else better to do, I think.
It ended up being like, we had a bunch of people get either fired or quit, and he knew how to do everything. I'm like, hey, how many hours can you work a week? And I milked him. I mean, he worked. It actually kind of worked out for me, but it was just very odd to do that.
There was a mopper with us that did like 30-some years, retired on a Friday, had the retirement party on a Saturday. You know what I mean? The whole shebang. Saturday, they're like, hey, you got to come back for half a day. On Monday, we had the numbers fucked up.
Oh my God.
He was like, my family has moved. Like, they moved to Florida. Like, I'm catching a train in, 4 hours.
He had to work like 12 hours or something?
He had to fly back, work for half a day, and then fly back to Florida.
That is crazy. They couldn't write that shit off?
Couldn't.
He didn't have the time or anything? Wow, that's crazy.
12 fucking hours?
That's crazy.
Well, 8. I mean, 4.
Still,
hours.
that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, nuts.
Let's
Bureaucracy bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Last night I read probably maybe a little bit more than half of the I guess it's the Batman Who Laughs.
How is it?
It's fucking crazy.
Crazy but, good or crazy just crazy?
It is just crazy, but I mean it's kind of an Elseworld story,
sure.
and I know you're going to read it, so I won't give anything away. But some of the things that happen in it, Gordon plays a very critical role in that, and that book is laid out in a way I'm not. I guess it tells the whole story, but it's like book 1, 2, 3, and then there's like another book they kind of drop in there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it gives you information you need for the rest of it, but it's almost like, why are you giving me this? I just want to read this story. But it's entertaining so far. I'll probably finish that up tonight. Been working on some crazy diorama stuff. I've got to bust my ass and finish by the end of the week. Let's see. The first time this has happened to me in a while. I'm waiting week to week on a TV show at this point. So
appointment television.
Good
television. For you.
So
what are you watching?
So I watched the first season of the Mayans.
Subbed or dubbed?
Actually, it's pretty heavily. About half of it's in Spanish, so it's pretty heavily subbed. Actually,
nice.
But wouldn't it be funny if it was dubbed? Y'all got the dubbed version of this show? But I finished the first season. It was on Hulu. And through our Xfinity, I caught up, and so like last night was the newest episode. So I got up early this morning and watched it, on the stream or whatever. So it's just an odd experience. Like, what's happening next week? I'm like, well, shit, I gotta wait a week.
Are you enjoying that at all?
It's almost like it gives you something to look forward to in a weird way.
I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoing it.
I mean, I guess it's the same way you guys had with Game of Thrones a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's like... It
reminds me of being a child.
Something that you get to... do you have anything that you're like... Oh, dude, I saw Takashi send your phone over. Do you have anything that you're like... Like some kind of like...
I open my phone and this is what I see. I was like, who messaged me? Chris just sent me a text at some point, I guess, with a the no sign, the red circle with an X over it, and there's a guy jizzing on a dolphin. Please do not jizz on a dolphin.
Shout out to Tyler L. He sent that, so I had to share it.
I forgot where.
Episodic television.
Yeah. So, like, is there anything that you like to gorge on that you know you can't?
Food.
Correct. So, like, is there anything in particular where you're like, man, this is my shit, but I have to, like, this has to be, like, once a year or something like that?
Buffet.
Any buffet.
Anything that I can eat as much as I want of.
Okay.
I can't do it.
So, like, one of mine is the spicy nacho cheese Doritos with Tostitos queso. It's one
Very
of my
specific.
It's one of my, like, man, I'm going to smash this entire ensemble. But I know it will kill me this year if I eat it the way I want to eat it. So I eat it like once a year. You know, but I look forward to it, you know, like I miss it. That's what appointment television has become for me. Mm-hmm. Like episodic television is like, it's nice. Like, it's nice to have like a couple things here where like you can have it at your disposal. Like, chicken, I can eat whenever I want, as much as I want. It's nice to have that. But for the special things, I like having this little period to look forward to wait for the next thing. So I think I enjoy a balance. There's some stuff I want to just gobble up, so to speak, and then there's some stuff where I want a little wait, you know, before the next.
Yeah, I mean, the waiting for me is always out of necessity, not because I want to. So it's different.
And I think that even with like The Mandalorian is going to be weekly, I plan on watching one episode multiple times.
Right.
You know, over the week.
I think it helps if you, like, especially with like Disney, with your own streaming service, like that gets people to stay subscribed and tune in week to week. Because if you dropped everything, then you already blew your load.
Then they could get in and get out.
Yeah, and watch it.
Yeah.
But like you just keep feeding it a little bit at a time.
That's a good point too.
I've said this before. I think to an extent the binging of stuff, I don't think we remember things as much as we would watch. Like, I distinctly remember vivid things about the show Lost because I watched it every week for however many years.
I'm opposite. Like, if you give me a week without watching something, I've already seen so much other shit in between that, like,
right.
Yeah.
So saying that to say, there's a Netflix movie called El Camino coming out, which is it's
Breaking Bad.
It's set in the Breaking Bad world about Jesse Pinkman, and I guess it's after everything happens. I'm hoping there's some sort of recap I can watch because I remember how that show ended. I don't really remember what happened to Jesse at the end.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
He was like driving away, right? He was just driving away. That's the last thing I
remember.
remember.
And then, you know, the trailer for this, he shows up, he's got a scraggly beard and looks like he's been beat to shit, and he like goes in it's his same two buddies that he was running around with then, and I don't know. The trailer's not there's no talking in the trailer. It's just music over clips.
Netflix is not great at trailers.
Yeah, I don't know. I figured for something like that, they've got an opportunity to do something like that. They do something a little different with it.
Yeah.
So, I got my Dooku Hot Toys. I got him open. That's an amazing head sculpt again.
Yeah, that one
great with it.
That figure is great.
Soft goods are great.
Yep.
That cape or cow, whatever
fantastic.
you call it. Yeah,
that's one of the better ones. And I was able to take out that Dooku from the Asajj Dooku statue, and then put in the new Dooku, the Hot Toys Dooku. Yeah, and now I can have them. It works like a motherfucker, and I can have him and Asajj look in the same direction, so I can even display it better. Because with that one was looking one way, one was looking the other way. The guy in the boat's like, "What do you want from me?" but now they can both look the same way, and I like put his hand up on her rib cage, so he's like holding her. Like, it's fucking cool now. So yeah, I love that figure.
Yeah, no, I think I've only got. Let's see, what else is coming out. So I just do the prequel Star Wars stuff. So I've got Qui-Gon, I've got Commander Cody, and that's all they've announced, right? Is that everything on the prequel docket?
Yeah, that's all that's been
that's actually been pre-order.
And there's a Padme, Kit Fisto, some of that shit.
Yeah. And I'm not sure I need a Kit Fisto.
Really?
I don't know if I need to drop 200, whatever it is. And then the other thing, I think the only other one I've got is that Punisher War Machine, just because it's such a cool piece.
Oh, but you're not counting Solo, right? Because there's that other Maul.
No, and we got a really good. I don't think I'll get that, to be honest. I mean, I think
robot leg.
Yeah. I think. I mean, honestly, a figure based on a. Is it going to be Is it going to be like those little blue figures they come with? That's all it is, right? Yeah. It's just a big one. That would actually be really cool if you just had and it flickered.
NYCC exclusive.
Oh,
I can see it.
You never know.
The speaking of NYCC, I could use a favor.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that later.
All right.
Yeah. So I think that's it for me.
Okay.
We went to whatchamacallit. Well, you should talk about that. We went to record last week.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
How do you?
Because
You bought me a muffin.
It seems like it's
from fancy hippies. It's a fancy hippie coffee joint next to this urban recording studio.
Yeah,
with smells of weed.
Yeah.
What the coffee shop does.
No, the studio.
But I wouldn't have been surprised.
Of course it does.
But there's the coffee shop sell fancy coffee.
Yeah, it was good
and a good ass muffin and like people just lounging in there. There was a guy also in flip flop, that fat guy.
Yeah,
or just in just sloppy clothes like he lives there.
Yeah,
I really wanted
a girl with one arm and who's
make
pregnant. Yeah. That threw me off.
Yep, there was a one arm pregnant lady.
Not that there's anything wrong with either. It's just you don't see a one arm pregnant lady without a prosthetic hanging out.
Pregnant ladies do have a tendency to be mean, though.
Welcome
there's
to
a little bit something wrong with that part of it. Not the arm bit. But the
welcome to Baltimore. I don't know.
Yeah. So we went down there. We recorded the new song. I'll probably do something Patreon related for that. I'll try to get it up this month, if not top of this month.
Did you guys film a bit?
We did film a little bit for the making of. It's always an experience. But he was like, man, you weren't kidding. Once a year,
Mr. E Black.
Yeah, Mr. E Black,
professional.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome, that guy. But he said you exceeded my expectations, which was nice to hear. It's a different type of record, different type of vibe, much more introspective, and I'm not sure how it will go over because it's not the most user friendly.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think it's as user friendly as Solid Unit or Hungry or this last one.
Nothing for me.
Yeah, Nothing for me. I think it requires you to get in to listen to it. So that's always a bit of a challenge with that type of song. But I'm proud of it. There's a lot of it's well written. Anything else?
There's a lot to unpack. I mean, you sent it to me, and I've listened to it a couple of times. I need to listen to it a couple more times because it is dense. It's like a fold out book that just keeps on folding out. Yeah,
but also because we know you, that's more content for us, and I wonder how it goes over for someone who doesn't.
Well, and I
agree.
I'll say I was in the car with my oldest, who Bobby will never see again. Just kidding. He's got his license and a girlfriend, so he's gone.
Done.
He gone.
And
he got done playing, and he's like, "What is this about?" And I tried to kind of explain some of it to him.
Yeah, it's like he's like in that Bambi. Remember in Bambi when they all hibernated and they came back, and then the crew split up. They all found girls.
Yeah.
That's kind of bullshit, man. Even Thumper you thought was down for the cause, and then he fucking turned.
All right, I'm gonna head out. Yeah.
That's some bullshit. But yeah, I'm proud of it. I got an idea for a music video. Like it's kind of like the backdrop, like the kind of bass line through it. I got to work out the locations and stuff to see if I can make it work. So I got to think that through a little bit more. I've been busy as fuck. I feel
so busy. Everyone's so busy.
How do we have time to do this?
So I feel this is always it's always this time of year for me. That's the worst.
Yes, it is.
But I am drowning right now. I just had this guy Andy who's been helping me out with a lot of the Star Wars Sports Friday stuff. He hit me up like last night. He was like, "Hey man, you need anything for this week?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm so far behind. I don't even know where to begin." And he was like, "Give me something." So I was like, "Well, this is something I need to do, but I need to go to this place and get it and then cut it up and then send it to you and then have you cut it up." And then he was like, "I'll do it. Just fucking tell me that you know." He said, he's a cool dude, man. I've spoken to him a few times on Skype or whatever. I had to talk to him originally before I started kind of working with him because I didn't want him to be like a fucking, you know what I mean, like a clown, like a bozo. So I got on Skype with him pretty early on and realized he wasn't a bozo. He was a pretty sharp kid, and he's been helping me a lot. So I'm appreciative of that. All the reviews and stuff, and like a lot of the reviews have been like super involved reviews, like the fucking Star Saber and the MP44 and the...
Is that Star Saber? Is that yours?
No.
Is it here still?
Yeah, it's in that box right there.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
I wanted to look at it.
It's beautiful. I'll tell you, it's a little sloppy.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the paint application?
No. Like some of the way the accessories integrate, the instructions. Like, it's just... And when I say that, I want to make it clear, like, I said it in the review... When you're used to a company, every time that they pick up the bat, fucking knocking the ball out of the stadium, when they hit it over the fence, you notice.
Right.
Like, it still scored. It's still a home run. But it didn't leave the stadium like you're used to it leaving the stadium, you know? But it's good.
I think it has anything to do with that. It has to combine.
I can't help but think that. And I can't help but think that now they're doing this and they're putting out 4 or 5 fucking model kits every 6 months, it seems like. You know, they might be...
Model kits are lucrative, man.
Sure.
Last band day.
Sure. But I mean, like, maybe putting a lot of energy into a lot of things is taking away a little bit from one thing.
Speaking of model kits, total side bar here, but I was in Barnes & Noble in Frederick, and they actually had the Bumblebee model kits at Barnes & Noble, so... They got some.
That's weird.
Cool.
They have a lot of toys.
They have Gundams.
They
have a ton of Gundams.
They have
so
Dragon Ball stuff too.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine whatever distribution channel, and it's probably Bluefin. I think Bluefin probably is who feeds all that stuff to Barnes & Noble.
You still haven't put those 112 furniture model kits together from Japan yet, have you?
Well, I was going to actually bring one and put it together while we were here today, because no, I haven't. Joe, I have so much stuff I'd love to.
No, I'm just I don't collect those figures. I'm just interested in what they are.
One of these days, maybe we'll do them together.
What did
Fox say?
Yeah, so I finished Deadly Sin, 7 Deadly Sins.
Nice.
That was a good read. That was a good book. I quite enjoyed it.
That's the Western one, right?
Correct.
Joe, will you read that?
Maybe.
Okay,
it's good. It's good. It's like
there's an Asian character.
I saw
true. That's true.
They got it from the railroad.
It's also
literally
makes sense.
It's the right time.
It's the right time.
That's how a lot of us get out here. Not me, but
yeah. There's a character in it that reminds me of somebody on a podcast, but I'll say that for, like a famous podcast. Like, there's this character in the book. I'm like, you're him. But let's see what else I did. I'm working on this. I'm trying to get this last drawing done before TFCon. This Dinobot.
Oh, it looks good.
It's looking great, man.
Thank you. I am proud of it. I do. Like you said, like, it's the colors that I'm most happy with, and it has a mood to it, and I'm hoping to get it done. Laura's on my ass about it. She's kind of been on my ass about it all year, so I want to have it done for her. It is a weird thing, like, it's a dichotomy to it. Like, on one hand, I'm like, just this once, I'll allow you to ask me about my affairs. Is it true, Michael? No. But that's kind of how I feel. Like, stay the fuck out of my business. Like, I'll get what I can get done when I can get done. You worry about the fucking merchandise. I'll worry about... But, like, at the same time, when she's like, I really need you to do this. I really need you to... I think we're going to do well with it if we do this. It does feel good. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's a give and take to it. So I'm trying to get it done. And I'm doing pretty good. I've got it all drawn, inked. And I've got slag and sludge colored. And I am working on Grimlock. I have, I think, 2 colors done on Grimlock. So I think it's going to be good. And did I watch anything? So only thing I've been watching is the Tekashi 6ix9ine drama unfold.
Oh my God, the memes. Memes.
I'll tell you what. There's a couple things that are interesting to me about it. One,
now let's fill in our non-hip-hop audience.
So there's
I'm non-hip-hop and I know about that shit.
Well, but I don't think you would know much about it if we weren't talking about circles all the time.
For me, it's I'm in a pop culture because I'm on social media so much. True. The youngins fill me in.
The youngins do.
There is a guy named Tekashi 6ix9ine, and he was probably the biggest urban artist of the year last year.
Who looks like Bozo the Clown.
Yes, he has rainbow-colored hair.
Rainbow-colored teeth,
the whole bit. He became sort of a poster boy for what's wrong with rap music for a lot of older people, but I don't think they actually listen to his music because I would often see things like, I hate mumble rappers like 6ix9ine.
He's not a mumble rapper.
That's not this.
I hated his cadence.
Yeah, he was like a screaming guy.
It's like me saying, I don't like R&B singers like Kanye.
Very similar. Very similar.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were like, so he worked at a deli. Long story short, he worked at a deli. A guy came in and said, hey, do you do music? He said, no. He said, well, you got a cool look. You should consider it. And he said, okay, well, let's give it a shot. And he did like a rap rock group that nobody ever knew about. And they went on tour like in Prague and Eastern Europe and all these places. And he made $2,000 from it, he said. Now, the interesting thing about it to me is that makes total fucking sense because he screams on his rap records. You know, he's a screamer, you know, and I'm like, okay, so you were part of this rock. You were like a Linkin Park type of guy. Like, that makes total fucking sense to me. Comes back from that, gets involved with these dangerous gentlemen, and they turn him into a rapper. He does a video for a song called Gummo, which you can look up at your earliest inconvenience. And in that song, for the music video, he wanted a whole bunch of gang members in it to kind of validify him. They provided the gang members, and at that point, he kind of became indebted to them, from what I'm taking from all this. It plays out. The gangster life sort of gets confusing, right? Because you're not a gangster, but you're around all this gangster shit. It's like, I'm not a anime guy, but I know who, you know, Gunlarg and that. Like, if somebody were to say that now, I'm like, oh, I know my buddy, or superhero academia, like, you know what I mean? If I hear something like that, I'm like,
that would probably pass. And
you know, or One Punch Man, like all this shit, like you pick up on stuff. Yeah. You know, I know I don't follow Mezco really at all.
Mezco.
There he is. But like, I know more about it because I'm around you. It's like that's just the natural way of things. So he's around them.
I mean, I don't know much about crabs, but I moved to Maryland, so I'm fucked.
Right. So like, he learned a little bit about that. They learned a little bit about the music industry. And
didn't two of them become like his managers?
Well, one became his manager and one became like his protection.
Okay.
And then the two of them, I think, started to have an issue over who was getting the most money out of him. And that's when everything started to fall apart. As soon as that started to fall apart, there was all sorts of stuff. There's a kid. He was kidnapped. There's video footage on YouTube. If you look up Tekashi 6ix9ine kidnapped, like at gunpoint, thrown in the car, like the whole bit. It's like, it's crazy. It's stuff right out of a movie. So the feds take down 15 of them. Tekashi, he's like, in the testimony, they said, when did you start cooperating with the federal government? And he was like, November 18th, 2018. They're like, when did you get arrested? He's like, November 17th, 2018. Like, that dude wasted no time. He's like, look, I'm going home. Everybody clear on that? So, he's been testifying against them. Most of them have pled guilty and got charges and stuff, and he hasn't been sentenced, but he's hoping for the red letter deal. He's hoping to, I think, have time served. And in my opinion, if
it's a protection program, even though I don't know how he's going to hide his face.
Have you seen the meme? It's like they turn into 8s, and it's like, no, man, I'm David 88.
David.
There's a giant 6ix9ine tattoo on his forehead,
and they turn
amongst other tattoos on his face.
I can only hope that he's made enough money where he can get that shit taken off and go live in Prague.
I can't imagine that he's made enough money to cover this trial. But at the same time, I think his lawyer is kind of trash because, like, look at Sammy Gravano.
Cool.
Sammy the Bull
Gravano. He was the
biggest rat.
He was the muscle of John Gotti. And he had bodies. Numerous bodies. And he ratted on the whole fucking situation and basically got out of jail free. He had to do a little time, I think, and some bullshit, but he basically got out of jail free. And I think most of that was during the trial. So, like, if I have a lawyer and there's not really any bodies connected to this situation, it's just sort of, you know, racketeering. And I mean, because this guy they all went down on RICO charges, which is nuts. But if I am in that position, I'm going home. I'm going home. If I'm telling on everybody, and this fucking guy told on people, and he's fucking killed people, and I'm telling on people for fucking being bad shots,
and I'm
going home.
The other crazy thing about it is, Sammy the Bull was in deep with that for 20, 25 years. This kid's been doing this for 18 months. Right. And
right.
It's fucked up.
So the judge, when he sentenced the guy Shoddy, who was his manager. When he sentenced him to 15 years. Shoddy pleaded guilty. Most of them have pled guilty except for 2. That's who he's testifying against. the judge said, due to some bad, he said, the judge said, because there was like all these attempted murders and people were shot, but nobody was killed. And the judge said, due to some good luck and some bad aim, you're only doing 15 years.
Which means, I mean, in reality, the dude he'll do 6.
Yeah,
if he keeps his nose clean. So
and it's still like, I'm not. I want to make it clear, I'm not laughing at anybody going to jail, like that shit. And that's where I kind of sit with this. Is that like there is this part of me that's like, man, like I'm really enjoying the memes. Yes. I'm really enjoying them, but there is this conscious in me, like Jimmy the Cricket, not Jimmy the Cricket. That's mob shit.
Hey, it's Jimmy the Cricket over
hey,
here.
What the fuck are you doing? I'm Jimmy the Cricket.
Jimmy the Cricket's gonna fuck you up
I'm
next
your
Tuesday.
fucking conscious, all right? You want to fucking make a big deal about it?
Hey,
somebody draw that.
I'm Jimmy the Cricket from the Bronx.
Brooklyn.
So there's this part of me that's like, man, we're laughing at a lot of people losing their lives, like going to jail for fucking long periods of time, children losing fathers, and that's not to belittle the crimes that they did. Yeah. You have to be held accountable for it. But at the same time, it's like, I guess my fear is that I think that when I look at these memes and I'm laughing about it, but I also understand the severity of it. And I do worry about kids being exposed to this stuff and then everything seeming like a fucking joke. Because there are certain things in this world that if you treat them like a joke, they will prove to you very quickly that they are not. Mm. And I think that's the concern in my heart, is like the meaninglessness of things in regards to the internet and how that impacts a younger generation.
Correct. So I think as much as we enjoy these memes, it's really marginalizing the situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, look, if you're a gangster out there, a real gangster, maybe you shouldn't get wrapped up with people that aren't. Because at the end of the day, the first thing somebody's going to do when the shit hits the fan, you can do 50 years or you can tell us what happened with all these people. If I may, sir, I want to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Here's who, what, when, where, how, and why. I have photos. I have recordings. I've actually drawn some pictures of them, too, yeah. If you'd like to see.
Well, the thing
I didn't have a red crayon, so that purple is the blood.
I think what you're trying to say can be wrapped up even simpler, like in simpler language, to say at the end of the day, people are going to be...
At the end of the day, Bobby.
Well, at the end of the day, it's literally just going to be about 7 p.m. But aside from that...
yeah, that's really
depends on what shift you're on. Yeah.
Aside from that, people are just going to be them. People just are who they are. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the problem of this, is that both sides had unrealistic expectations of the other. Mm-hmm. The gangsters expected a non-gangster to be a gangster, and the non-gangster expected the gangsters to be businessmen.
Exactly.
And neither one of them were being fair to themselves or each other.
I mean, it's a little bit,
there's a lot of money to be had. That's why.
Correct.
That's what it comes down to.
I mean, listen, the guy had a song with Nicki Minaj. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, all things considered. Yeah. I mean, he had a couple other collaborations. And,
yeah, he had huge records.
He was the top guy, and the crowds at his shows were fucking bananas.
It was crazy.
It was like a riot every time he got on stage. Do you think he'll ever perform or record again?
He may be smart. I think it's very possible to see him record. He'll never perform again.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Mm-mm. But I think that it's like when you can record from your basement and publish on the internet, why wouldn't you? It's going to be his only way. But at the same time, they can put the feds can put limitations on what you can and can't do. They can say, like, look, we don't want to hear any more gun talk.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? Like, and then how does that music sound? Mm-hmm. A whole team full of fucking killers. I'm a killer too. Now a whole team full of fucking botanists. I'm a botanist too.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have the same vibe.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, the other thing I read, what I was getting to is these guys are, what's the set they're claiming, the blood set?
Tray 9.
The Tray 9. So
or Treyway, whatever.
They're a subset of, they're not actually, they're like, it's like the Wu-Tang, and you got the 28 affiliates. They're kind of like that. They're an affiliate group. Yeah. Like, apparently, like, whatever Jim Jones is associated with, and then with Cardi B, they're all blood, quote unquote. but they're not
right. And
they're not main set.
Like what you call? I think that all is similar. Like I think Snoop was like the Rolling 60s of the Crips or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's like its own sect within the Crips.
Right.
But anyway, I don't want to, and I know this is a lot of time spent to something that's not necessarily nerd stuff, but it is pop culture stuff, and
It's
it is,
definitely pop
and,
culture
and
stuff
yeah,
right now.
and it's like it's something that's really huge.
I mean,
so-
I made memes myself.
yeah, you said
probably
you said you're getting 20 more years, and Tekashi said Bobby Skullface is part of Fane's toys.
Bobby Skullface works for me. And the other, the one that I think got the most traction was they gonna make that Unicron whether it funds or not.
Okay, so let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about Nerd Week wise before we move on. I don't think that there is. I did 2 sit-down Saturdays this week because I have this one, and Nerd Rage listeners can be privy to it, but I have this one that's like I want to talk about the problems in scaling with these legends because they don't all scale the same, and people think they do. So I've gotten into kind of like arguments with people about it because the problem is that people are buying them all and they're telling themselves that they scale right. So then I'm like, they don't. And then people are like, what do you mean? Are you idiot? You fool? But it's not quite accurate. So I actually, if you see over there, I don't know if Joe won't be able to see it, but I like made 2 scale charts and I like plotted out the lines and then used like ratios compared to the
Where is
real
this?
scale chart. It's sitting to the left of my table.
I don't.
I'll bring them out, but like I plotted out the lines. Like I started with Optimus, and then I used like a formula to equate the numbers. Laura did it, but like so that the next line would be in scale, and the next line would be in scale, and then I put it as the backdrop, and I put them up against it.
Oh, nice.
And
You made a
sometimes,
Sunbow chart.
correct, and sometimes,
You could probably sell that, by the way.
and sometimes you can see,
Available at TFCon.
you can see
Make sure you ask.
how it happened. Like, you know what I mean? Because they're like, if you're like, oh, that does kind of work. But then when you put 2 things of the same scale next to each other, that's when it starts to fall apart. But it is like, there is a trick to it. And I don't know, I'll probably put this video out probably in TFCon time. Like I got it in the bag now, so I'll just hold on to it when I have a busy week. But I think the trick to it is go extremes with one scale or the other. So like, and what I mean by that is like the super big figures stick to one scale. The super small figures stick to one scale, and then the stuff in the middle stick to one scale, and then they'll kind of blend.
Well, the true solution is don't buy any of it.
Yeah, there's that too.
That's where I landed with it.
There's that too. So, but also what I realized, because people were saying like the Mech Fans toys, they're the right scale. It's incorrect. The
Right scale to what though?
to the Sunbow chart. If that's what we're using as the blueprint
Of their own stuff.
No,
yes, to DX9. Well, no, yes, to DX9.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Who is the benchmark right now of what is right? Sunbow chart, yes, but like
Sunbow chart's bullshit.
no, but we're talking about figure to figure, so like you have it has to be relative to something. So usually like for Masterpiece, MP10 was like
Kind of the benchmark.
you scale everything
Yeah,
to
you
you
work
scale
from
everything to MP10. So
Correct.
in Legends, what are you scaling everything to?
I would say
Just each other, right?
yes, but I would say to Optimus too.
Which Optimus?
So the DX9 Dinobots, I'm scaling to the DX9 Optimus.
So okay, but you're not because you're making charts of companies against companies too, right?
Correct. So like I'm comparing, like I'm showing the DX9 chart, and then I'll put the Magic Square figures on it and show how it's off, and then vice versa. But
so who's like right? Who's the one?
So
that's gold standard.
so that's the thing, is that they're all right.
To themselves.
To themselves. And now New Age, which is basically DX9 rebranded, and DX9 work because it's the same shit. But even their Bumblebee, which is like this big, is actually a little too big.
That thing's tiny.
Yeah, it's very tiny. It's actually sitting over there too, but it's
the
very,
size of a G1 Bumblebee.
No, it's smaller. It's tiny.
Yeah.
It's
G1 Bumblebee,
it's like
as I
this-
recall,
yeah.
is
It's very
this big.
small.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
Actually, of all the Legend stuff I messed around with, that was probably the most fun. That little, I think it's called Flipper. I mean, it's the transformation.
It's a great figure.
You'd never think that thing could transform any other way, and they figured out a way to make it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
really clever.
It's fantastic. But
Hey, just real quick, Mech Fans Toys that you mentioned, that's Legends Plus.
correct.
Yeah, so that's upscale knockoffs.
Correct.
I'm gonna say it quietly.
But they were saying
Robert D hates them, right?
it's
Sure.
It's what it's what people that don't know any better are calling fourth party. That word popped up after my No KO OK video. I'm going to put that out there. That's when that word started coming around.
Fourth party?
Yep. They wanted to stop calling them KOs and start calling them fourth party. Fourth party.
That's when I started seeing like distributors.
Yep, that's not
fourth party available.
I always respond to people with a hashtag that says fourth party is not real. But anyway, the Dinobots actually do scale perfectly with the Optimus of the same line, like almost to the millimeter. It's nuts. Like there is a lot of attention.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's definitely not by accident.
Correct.
It's like 6 things scaled together, but to the millimeter.
The Dinobots are funny that way, where like the Fans Toys ones, I think, if my memory serves me correct, do scale properly to MP10, but people remember them being huge.
Depends on the episode you watch.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Really.
Correct.
But you do the Sumbo chart, then there's no argument there.
Correct. If
that's why the chart's worth anything, because the animation sucks.
Right. It's the only way to have a baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And at the end of the day, I think scale's an eye of the beholder. I've always said that, and I attest to that. I believe in that. But if you're going to have a conversation about it, I feel like you do need something to start from. Mm-hmm. Let's get into. There's a couple conversations I wanted to have. One of which is about this YouTube shit. Have you guys heard anything about this?
From a distance, I mean, I know you said are you going to do a video about it?
I'm doing one on it this week.
Okay. I don't want to steal your thunder, but...
Yeah, well, we can talk about it a little bit. YouTube is putting in... So the FTC want to censor me and won't let me be me, or whatever the shit. Anakin. But the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission...
Not the FCC.
Not the FCC, no, I know.
Right, so that's...
Different. That's the Federal Communications
Commission.
Yeah. So the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, which is there to protect. I think it's to protect
your neck.
Protect your neck.
Neck and neck.
I think it's to protect from companies becoming monopolies and how companies handle commerce.
They're not doing a very good job.
Yeah, no shit. Anyway, they sued Facebook, right? That's the big one that everybody knows about. And they got $5 billion out of them. And then they turned around and sued Google, and Google just settled for $107 million.
Which is all pocket change for these people.
So that's like an hour.
But we're talking, well, that's my thing. Is like we're talking about huge difference in settlements, right?
Yes.
So YouTube settled, and one of their things that they're doing is they're changing it where starting January 2020, all kids' shit is going to go to YouTube Kids, won't be monetized, won't have availability for comments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the question is, how broad of a brush are they using to paint this? And are they looking at things like analytics and saying, well, this guy's channel is 35-year-olds watching this shit. Like, this is not for kids. And the answer is, doesn't look that way. It looks like they're going to paint it with a pretty broad stroke.
Yeah, but and I heard this from somebody, I don't know who. YouTube makes every time you make money, they make money.
Yeah, of
why?
course.
Why are they going to cut off their noses?
So they don't want to. See, that's the thing is YouTube is not the villain here. They don't want to do this because they're, like you said, they're losing money when we lose money. They feel like they have to comply with the FTC and this other company. Whereas I guess it's an act more so than a company, but the COPA, Children Something Protective
At
People.
The COPA. Copacabana. Unrelated.
Yeah. But achieving, I don't know what it's called, but it's COPPA and it's protecting kids.
COPPA.
Maybe it is COPPA. I said COPA in the video, so.
So there's an entire genre towards kids programming.
Mm-hmm.
I
makes
mentioned
a
this
lot
before.
of money.
I mean, I watched my 6-year-old watch it basically for entertainment. He watches YouTube. So like he watches this. There's this family. It's called FGTV. They do a lot of streaming gaming stuff, but then they do like they'll go on, go to Disney and they'll do a video and they do all sorts of just funny things. And the dad edits everything, and he does I guarantee you that he probably gets up at 7, goes to bed at midnight, and is either filming or editing all day long. But I mean, they get like a million views in 24 hours, right? I mean, they have, but like you go to not Toys R Us. Fuck, I don't know how you do that. You go to Walmart right now. There's a section of YouTube gamer stuff, and like they have action figures there. Yeah. I mean, the dude's making a living for him and his family. Yeah. Doing these videos, and look what you do here. Like if you lost that revenue, that would suck. But your kids are still going to eat.
Oh yeah,
you probably have to change your habits around your collecting.
It would just be, you know what it would be?
It would probably have free time.
It would be an inconvenience,
right?
Ultimately, that's what it would be for me, is an inconvenience. But like you say, and I think that there's blame to go around everywhere. So there's blame on the parents because the parents aren't being responsible for their children in regards to what they're watching. And I've done it myself. And I've done it myself. Your kid is screaming. You need them just to be quiet for 5 minutes so you can get something done. You pass them the phone. They're watching the Ducks go to the pool as a cartoon, and you come back and they're watching the Punisher trailer,
right.
or something like that. And so that's me being irresponsible as a parent. The content creators are being irresponsible because in order to have a YouTube account, you're supposed to be 13 years old. Like, you're not supposed to have one if you're under. YouTube itself isn't the entertainment company. We are, right? So the content creators are being irresponsible making content for kids under the age of 13, knowing that they shouldn't have a YouTube account in the first place. So the content creators have to take some of the blame. YouTube has to take some of the blame because they've allowed it. They've allowed these content creators to make this content in order to make money off of children. So they have to take some of the blame. So like, there's blame to go around everywhere, and I think that ultimately the most important thing, obviously, is to protect the kids, right? Like,
I don't disagree with you.
So that's first and foremost. I get that. I think that what they're aiming at is shit like squishies out of the eggs and slime.
I watched a video the other day. Charlie he doesn't normally watch this kind of stuff. This guy had some Duplo blocks, and he had poorly drawn, like, Spider-Man on it, and he knocked him over. Oh, no. And then he built it back. And this thing had over 1 million views in, like, a couple months. And it's just, what am I doing with my life? Why am I not?
Right. And I agree with you that, like, if I lose the channel, it's an inconvenience. I'll be more upset that I don't get to go out on my own terms. That's what'll piss me off the most. Secondly, there are people like Thu. Thu just quit his job, he said, like last year or something. Like, that's going to affect him in a much greater capacity. The people that it's going to affect the most are the people who have made complete fucking enterprises out of this shit. Like you're talking about, like people that have 10 to 15 people on payroll and editors and light people and camera people and sound people and all this shit. Now you're talking about impacting 10 to 15 people. It's impacting their families. You know what I mean? When the ripples from that pond start to grow, now you've affected like 100, 200 people overnight. A
bunch of things to say.
Good.
First, when it comes to this stuff, overreaction is always the reaction.
Correct.
It's like
the pendulum swing.
Yeah, way far.
Correct.
I'm assuming it will go back.
Correct.
At some point, step by step. 2 is not good for creators or whatever, but might be good for the space of media hosting because YouTube has been undefeated. They have no rival. Having people now searching for other places, outlets like other companies, like we know we have the Daily Motion and whatever the fuck
Vimeo.
They're out there, but they're not viable.
Right.
But like if YouTube takes a hit, then it creates competition.
Correct, but they will fall too.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's say you're this one I'm referencing. How do you migrate those 1 million people a day to Twitch? How do you tell your mommy to download Twitch and log in with her Amazon Prime and make sure 1 month you pick this channel of ours and next month you pick this channel to get the free.
It's not so much with kids stuff. Like with adolescents or adult stuff, that's easy. Like, I don't know, you guys probably not that into following YouTube people, but like we do. Like people I watch have millions, tens of millions of subscribers and views that they make a lot of money, and it's not hard for them to be like, and they have over the last few years. They partly because they've seen the writing on the wall. They have diversified to Twitch and others, and it's not hard. It's not hard for like them to get the younger generation to follow them to a different platform.
Correct. The problem is that this is going to become a Roe versus Wade situation, where once the FTC wins this, they can go to Vimeo, they can go to Twitch, and they can apply the same standard and shut down the same shit in terms of monetizing it.
Maybe. That's another thing I was going to say is that YouTube is there's too much responsibility being placed on YouTube for this. Other than the algorithms are fucked up because if you link one kid's video to a non-kid's video, but 2 is like what they have to do is maybe per creator, per content, is that you as the creator have to mark this as adult or children. And if you're fucking up and your content is not deemed okay for children, then you get striked.
So that's happening now.
Right. That's always made sense.
In October, that's supposed to start, where creators are supposed to check a box. Is this suitable? Like, is this for people over the age of 13 or under the age of 13? And then you build an algorithm, they cross-check your algorithm, and then you build trust within your algorithm.
Right.
Right. And that makes the most sense.
Correct. I agree.
So saying that to say, like, this won't affect, if that algorithm works correctly and you're checking this is for people over 13.
Correct.
And it won't
You shouldn't have an issue.
It won't autoplay on the kids'
Theoretically.
playlist. You know?
I mean, have you looked at your demographic? Does it show if anyone under 13 views your stuff?
I'm sure that some do, but it's like, just like I have some women that watch. Like,
sure, like 3%.
Like all 4 people.
Right.
And shout out to you ladies, was good. But like, at the same time, now after this, now all responsibility is on the creator, because YouTube has done this. Like, they've said, look, we're going to set this up. We're going to set this up. We're going to move people from this platform to that platform. Mm-hmm. We have cooperated with the federal government. We've done all that we've been asked. So now, if you fuck up, you can be fined by the federal government. You can be prosecuted by the federal government. It won't come to that, because who wants to waste money on that? But you will get fined.
It feels like it's kind of fair. You are the creator.
I
agree.
You
are the creator.
I agree.
So, going back even to that family thing I was talking about, and there's a guy I watch pretty regular. I don't watch him as much as I used to. It's a big shoe guy, and now he's kind of wandered into. He still does shoes a little bit, but mostly it's just lifestyle and his So he built a brand, right? He built a T-shirt brand. You probably see me wear his shit sometimes. And he published his YouTube numbers. He screen capped his statement. So he's got like 120,000 subs. He averages 15 to 20,000 views per video, and his check for last month was like $180.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and because he gets flagged a lot. He gets flagged a lot, but he says, you know what? It sucks that I do all this shit, and I don't get compensated through YouTube, but this is just a fucking vessel for me now.
Right.
It's just a vessel.
A
so
brand,
the smart,
correct.
So and most of these, like all these gamers that the kids
have
watch,
like,
hey, go buy the so and so T-shirts available now. Right, exactly.
Like not to any sort of significant extent.
Sure,
but I think it's smart to diversify.
Well, I mean,
and they're sponsored. A lot of them, the companies that gives them the game for free and then pays them to play it.
Even like there's a guy I enjoy watching, Toy Galaxy. I don't know, maybe you're familiar with him. His name's Dan Larson. I
feel like
he's I think lives in New Hampshire. I met him before. I didn't
Weird
realize.
flex.
Yeah, I know. He goes to that retro con, so a lot of the guys have met him there, and I met him. He came to NJCC one time.
Okay.
But anyways, he's got sponsors now, and it's sometimes it's like a web hosting service. He has a VPN that sponsors him, which I think is very peculiar. But he's figuring out ways to monetize what he's doing outside of YouTube, and I think that's what people that are solely waiting on that YouTube check. Those days are over. If you have not at this point,
that's 3 years over.
Right. Yeah. If you at this point have not figured out a way to monetize yourself as the brand you've built, as you using YouTube as an advertising vessel, you're fucked.
Yeah. All the
even Deluxe got T-shirts. God bless.
Did you see Deluxe selling T-shirts?
Deluxe has shirts.
But all the biggest guys are diversified. YouTube is not like they started to be YouTube is their main thing. They make hundreds of $1,000s a month on YouTube.
Correct.
But they all have their own shit now.
Yeah.
Because they're all smart business people.
And the money's not there.
And when you're talking about like 10, 15 people, there are full on like studios that create content for YouTube. Like talking about full companies of like 30, 50 people.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just throwing numbers.
I'm just saying it's not a small fucking thing.
No, it's a huge
like
impact.
YouTube business is
it's a huge impact.
Even if you look at like, BuzzFeed. It's become a huge company, and it started out as a YouTube kind of clickbait thing.
But the question comes down to where's the line, right? Like, if the line is, I'm like, hey, kids, here's the Optimus is in trouble, huh, boys and girls? Like, dude, you deserve to be on a kid's platform. Like, but
there's some big timers out there that do that kind of bullshit.
Correct. And then the question is,
but that's the gimmick.
Correct. But the thing is that they are breaking the rules, right? Like they're purposefully making that content for children.
And if it's not inappropriate for children, then what's wrong with it?
It's not inappropriate, but it's targeted.
It's
towards
nothing.
children.
It's nothing wrong with it in and of itself. It's just that by putting it on YouTube, a platform that's supposed to be for 13-year-olds and older, you're saying that this is for younger, and now YouTube is building an algorithm on that YouTube user and advertising to that child.
So
it's collecting
YouTube,
data.
You're not supposed to make content for ages under 13 on YouTube.
Correct.
But you can for YouTube Kids.
Correct. It's not monetized.
Correct.
But why can't it be monetized?
That's
we have children's commercials
because of the ads.
It's that
because
FTC stuff.
because
They can't regulate the ads hard enough.
they can build an algorithm, and when they're building an algorithm, they're collecting data.
But that's what I'm saying. If you like, the past is the past. You can't fucking fix that shit.
Correct.
But you're implementing this YouTube Kids and YouTube. You're separating them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you brand yourself as YouTube Kids and you only show up on Kids channel, you should only have kids commercials also, I assume. Then what's wrong with making money off of that?
Because so in and of itself, theoretically, nothing, because mainstream television does it,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, I'll put my tinfoil hat on with you, Joe. You know that anytime you want. Like if we look into like where's this money, where's the lobbying money coming from with the FTC, and is shit like NBC on there? You know what I mean? Like or whoever, like is Universal on there? Like I'm with the shits. Like I'm willing to cross that bridge, but it's a lonely bridge to go out on. I think the problem is in that scenario specifically is the algorithm. If like the kid is clicking on, you know, Optimus Prime goes to the park, and then Optimus Prime goes to dinner, and then Optimus Prime goes to lunch bunch, and then, you know, and then YouTube starts suggesting more Optimus Prime adventures to the kid, and then on those videos, ads are now being placed there due to the algorithm of his clicks of Siege Line toys, Cybertron available on Netflix, whatever. Then the problem with that is that the child's data is being collected. That's the problem, because it's not just random commercials like on NBC. It's that it's specifying those commercials particularly to your activity.
What's wrong with that?
That's FTC regulation.
That's a federal regulation issue.
But
It's
COPA
the same
stuff.
reason why when we were kids we could watch Transformers, which was a half-hour commercial in and of itself, but they couldn't show Transformer toy commercials during the show because we weren't savvy enough in their minds to separate the two, and maybe we weren't.
And it's fucking weird because we didn't have money to buy the toys anyway.
Correct.
And it's up to the parents to do it on that.
Correct.
I don't know.
But I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I don't have a problem with regulating things that should be regulated, but like I have a big problem with like overstepping what needs to be regulated, I guess.
I agree.
And
I agree.
And listen, there's loopholes to every, like, you know, G.I. Joe, they advertised their comic book, and they used animation from the yet to be released TV show for the commercial for the comic book, instead of, you know, they got around it. So but I don't know. I think one, everybody's, you know, up in arms because something's changing. And I think what actually will end up being the end result product may not be what everybody's afraid it's going to be.
I agree, but I don't know if there's going to be.
And it's going to be a growing pain. It's going to be an adjustment period.
If the pendulum swing is going to go so far immediately that it's going to chase people away before it swings back to the middle.
And if you've already only built your career on YouTube and that's the check you get, like 3 months of not getting a check is going to be a big deal.
Well, I mean, there's, you
Agreed.
know, when YouTube changed the payout, was it 3 years ago?
Something like
you know,
that.
people had to go get jobs at Guitar Center and things like that instead of, you know, doing YouTube full time. I mean, those people now, what are they going to get 2 jobs at Guitar Center? I don't know.
And let's get into that question.
I mean, they quit or they adjusted to the times and diversified the shit.
Let's get into that question real quick, because now it's got me thinking, right? The what is wrong with that, right? So let's say that the commercial was for Optimus Prime socks. Okay, that's what's playing before each video. And my kid, without having that commercial, wouldn't be interested in that. And now my kid needs these socks and is complaining to me about these socks. Now I'm buying these socks. Is there a problem with that? And I'm not saying that there is. I'm raising the question. Like, is there a problem with a huge company targeting a demographic that doesn't know any better necessarily to say what is appropriate to buy and what is appropriate, what makes sense to buy. They're just being told, like brainwashing almost at that age.
This isn't age is brainwashing.
This isn't
correct, but there's a difference in the mental ability between a 5-year-old and a 35-year-old.
But this isn't anything new.
We've been advertised to all.
I'm not going to suggest that Joe has ever seen the movie A Christmas Story. Have you?
Yeah,
you have seen it.
Christmas Story is.
What did Ralphie want?
Red Ryder BB gun.
How did he know he wanted it?
From the magazine, right?
Yeah, from the Lifetime magazine that everybody. It was an adult magazine, and he had the ad.
So okay.
And he wanted his. What did he wait in the mail for every day?
The Orphan Annie.
Orphan Annie decoder. Right? How did he know he wanted that?
From the radio show.
I'm just saying, this shit is nothing.
Oh, no.
It's just the delivery. That's all that's changed.
But we've been chasing it the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's the reason why we went. That's the reason why we went from Scooby-Doo to Transformers in the first place. You know what I mean? Is because Scooby-Doo wasn't as much of a marketing machine as Transformers. And then the backlash of Transformers in the 86 movie and all that shit is the reason how we ended up at fucking Rugrats.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, but all of those are drastic changes in the ways that people are trying to chase the dollar.
Shout out to Tommy Pickles.
But it's fucking, like, I love talking about like this shit. Like,
I mean, my tinfoil hat is, I
put
think,
it on, Joseph.
I think it's fucking, maybe not like HBO or but media companies realizing it's in their death throes. Like, if you pull up like fucking, I don't watch PewDiePie, but just pull up his fucking a video of his and look at his numbers. Markiplier, look at how many views these people are getting sitting playing a video game versus a produced video, like a produced TV show.
Right.
These motherfuckers on YouTube are probably getting more fucking views and more reach than your whole produced production.
I mean, I'll tell you, like, I'll talk about wrestling for a minute. Outside WWE, there's 3 other promotions in the country that anybody really pays attention to. One of them is used to be called TNA. It was based in Nashville.
I know that show.
No. It's called Impact Wrestling now, and they're averaging less than on a weekly show that they are producing. Mm-hmm. They're averaging less than 1.5 million views a week.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think that there is this,
and there's probably 100 people involved with that production.
Media companies have been out of touch my entire existence.
I think they're in a. I don't just like the more. There's been more and more people not having cable, as I've talked to. When I cut off cable like 10 years ago, people look at me like I'm crazy. But now it's like a normal fucking thing.
I remember when I was a kid, you don't think I would have watched fucking 18 hours of fucking videos a day of kids playing Mortal Kombat?
Yes.
Like, I would have watched it all day long. And all that I think a lot of YouTube creators are doing are creating the content that they want to see or that they wanted to see. And then there's some that are a bit more savvy, I think, that are looking for an empty hole in the market.
So I just pulled up my YouTube subscription.
Whoa.
So Markiplier, episode 4, 48 minutes ago, 36,000 views.
In 4 minutes.
So, like,
it's crazy.
Media companies are not getting that.
Correct. They're not. And I think that
1.4 million views 4 days ago of some bullshit I haven't even watched. Like,
dude, I'm sure
they're angry
that if you absolutely, and I'm sure if you trace the money comes from media companies because like that's my tinfoil hat theory is that the media companies are the ones putting money into the system to try to shut down the shit. But what they should try to do is just try to fucking like instead of stopping it, try to market it and sign people and you know what I mean. But then that would come down to like, well, let me see the splits. Because the YouTube split is 55-45 you, and I think you'd be very hard pressed to find a deal that good at Tinseltown, baby.
And people who are already successful, why the fuck would they sign on to whatever you're doing?
That's what I'm saying.
They're their own company.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a guy named Ninja. Yeah, he's a Fortnite guy.
Is that cultural appropriation, or are we talking about a Japanese gentleman?
He's a white guy.
Joe. You okay with it?
Listen, go ninja. Ninja. Go.
I can't. If a turtle can be a fucking ninja,
exactly.
If Chris Farley can be a ninja,
that's right.
So Beverly Hills ninja.
So what about a person being a cricket, like Jimmy the Cricket?
I think Tommy Pickles is a gangster ass name. Hey, you guys seen Tommy Pickles this week?
Yeah, that's
I ain't seen him. This ninja fellow, he left Twitch. And he was I did the math one time. So Twitch is it $5 a month to subscribe to somebody on Twitch? I think it's a 50-50 split. So I did the math, and me and Mason were looking at it one day. He was making just like $100,000 a month.
Yeah,
easy.
And that's not even like
some other platform that I'd never heard of basically bought him and brought him over.
And they probably to help build that platform, probably.
Yeah. And guess what? He signed a fucking endorsement deal with Adidas.
Yeah.
This guy that fucking plays Fortnite for a living.
See, like all these old motherfuckers who were like, when you were kids, were like, well, you can't play video games for a living. And fuck you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, they fucking can.
That's true. All right, let's shift gears. That was a good fucking talk, though.
I mean, I love YouTube.
I
love media shit.
Me too.
You can also be a member on YouTube now.
The premium.
I mean, you can sell subscriptions for your own channel. People can buy membership.
Really?
So that was something I didn't want
to.
I know we were trying to move on, but
I haven't even linked my Facebook to my YouTube. Andy was like, "Dude, you should probably do a couple of these things. They're rudimentary." Like,
but I think it's like $5 a month on YouTube to be like a member of a channel.
I was going to ask you, Bobby, what's your split of your payout from Red versus clicks?
I don't know. I know that the average CPM in general, I think it's all across the board is 55-45. Me.
Well, and here's something. So I have a YouTube Red. I pay the $10 a month to not watch ads, which that money goes to whoever I watch, right? And it's, I guess if I watch YouTube constantly, it splits differently, whether if I watch 7 videos a month. And truth be told, unless other than people just sending me shit to look at, I probably watch 60, 70 videos a month. I don't watch a ton of YouTube.
Nor
I used to. I used to watch a lot.
I watch a lot.
Back when I cared about Transformers, I watched Bobby's videos, right?
Back when you watched Bobby's videos.
I just put them on and let them play. I want you to get that. I want you to get that quarter of a nickel.
Thank you.
Here's the thing. If I have a YouTube Red account, how do I pay for that? With a fucking credit card or a PayPal account. How old do I have to be to have either one of those, in theory?
Yeah, well, see, but that's not the problem. The problem is, once again, you're paying for it and then you're giving your phone to Charlie.
And I get it, but there's no way to ever fucking manage that.
Correct.
And it's not YouTube or the creator's responsibility at that point.
That's not.
That's the parents'
The
responsibility.
parents' responsibility.
Well, wait a minute, because in that specific scenario, no. But if you're making like a boopity boop, what's an egg? Oh, it's a little squirrel, boys and girls.
Right,
now,
but you're not.
Yes, I'm not. But
You're not.
But those creators do have to take a little bit of responsibility.
What they have to mark kids.
Yes, and YouTube has to take a little bit of that responsibility too, because they allowed it
in the first place.
Correct.
It's questionable because YouTube.
I agree because
as an inception, it's just a video sharing purpose.
It's just a programming platform.
It's like you guys can post your videos on here and anyone can look at it.
Correct.
And that's the base function.
Correct.
Why are they there to police anything? Except when money got involved, they have to police stuff.
Correct.
I mean, is it not okay for Ralphie's mom to let him look at Time Life magazine? I think it's not age appropriate. Yet there's a BB gun ad in there. So I mean that's I don't necessarily think it's inappropriate. How the fuck did I end up using that as an analogy?
But I think it's a perfect one. It's a perfect one
because to where it's relevant.
Yeah, because it's once again that is an ad placed in an adult magazine of
not an adult magazine.
Well,
a grown up,
not a snuff magazine. And we talked about the Little Orphan Annie Decoder. He knew about that from the radio.
Show. Now that's the radio show, and that's like a huge violation of what was deregulated in the 80s, because it used to be high regulation, and then Reagan deregulated it, and then now it looks like we're back up on the upward swing of regulation.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: the FTC probably doesn't understand what the fuck we do. Well, they don't understand the audience. None
of these fucking people understand. Look at that Facebook trial. It was a fucking mockery. It was a goddamn joke.
Holy shit! These motherfuckers have no idea what's going on. Where does the money come from? You
these old Southern.
They should be like fucking deep, like get thrown off their seats right there. Resign. You're too fucking old. Resign.
Mark Zuckerberg. How come you have not responded to my friend request?
So these old the chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia. Now, Mr. Zuckerberg, I understand that there's this thing out there called the internet. My granddaughter showed me some cat videos. I Googled Facebook, and it didn't bring up your picture. So
it was just a cat in a tree that said, hanging now.
Now, do you have cat videos on the Facebooks?
Yeah.
That's kind of, I mean, that trial was a joke. That trial was a joke.
But they don't understand.
But here's the deal.
I didn't understand the internet. I mean, I may still not, but I didn't understand it 3 years. When I did Burn, I didn't understand the internet.
Okay, funny sidebar. I was in a Goodwill recently. Weird flex, but okay. And the most entertaining part of a Goodwill to me is the book section. I actually bought some pretty interesting reference books. And
Joy of Sex.
Not quite.
Everybody knew that book from the 80s.
But they have
Power Muffs.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, comma, what?
I'm like, where is the vagina?
Where are her legs in this?
Jesus Christ.
They had an entire section of books that was basically how to use the internet from the early 90s. And I'm like... I almost bought one just for comedy's sake. And there was an entire book, and I swear to God, it was 2 inches thick of how to remove programs from Windows. I mean, it was, for dummy shit. But, yeah, saying...
For dummies?
Hey,
I'm surprised I didn't come and got you on that one. You might want to add one more cast member to that. 5 dummies. Seriously, I never thought about that.
Force Friday as well.
So, yeah.
I'm trying to
saying that to say, let's look at SDCC. It's a huge event, right? And I don't know if you guys paid much attention to everything this year. It seemed more toy and collectible focused this year.
I agree.
Than ever before. And I think part of that is because Disney's like, we're going to show our shit at our show.
Correct.
That's part of it. And I think a lot of the other studios probably just didn't want to. I don't know. But I'm saying that to say that's such a big attraction. I mean, that is by far, it's the biggest in the country, and it's one of the biggest in the world, I would imagine. How do these people in the FTC, which I'm imagining they're all in their 60s and 70s, and I have no idea what the real world's like, how can they not grasp the concept of people have disposable income, and we're not all spending, and there's nothing wrong with this. We're not all spending it on boats and tractors and hunting rifles.
Because they're
and
so
golf
out of
clubs.
it. They probably have no idea that some of the shit costs $2,000 plus.
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I think that
they're out of touch.
Yeah,
they're definitely. You're out of touch. I think a lot of people are out of touch in those positions. I think they need to get some people that understand the world we live in a little bit better.
Or just people who are, because not everyone knows everything about everything, but just people who are open to learn about some shit before they fucking make decisions.
Hold my beer.
Yeah,
just be open minded about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they don't. I mean, and I see it in my father a bit. My father lives in West Virginia on a mountain. He's not like a mountain man. Like, he has a nice home, and like, it's, the grass is curated, all that kind of stuff. But he has lived there since '98, and he has lost touch with reality. Like, not 100%, but he used to be very much in touch with reality. Maybe a little too in touch with reality. And I mean, to the point where, my dad moved out of that neighborhood because 2 people were shot in my street, and a house was broken into on Christmas Eve the night before, and they took the crumb that was too small for the mouse. You know what I mean? He moved out there. And when I talk to him now, he says things that I'm like, you saw this on the news, and now you think the world is this way. Like, I remember I work in a very diverse area, but it does have a high minority population per capita, I would imagine, in comparison to the surrounding areas. And, he was like very concerned after Ferguson and, all this stuff. Like, our things out here, it's rough out there. I'm like, I think it's rough in Ferguson.
Yeah.
But like, it's fine, Dad. I was completely fine. I held the door open for a black woman, and then a black guy passed me a cucumber at the grocery store the same day. We're all getting along just great. Don't worry about it. But I could tell the concern in his head came from some news programming that he watched, and now that one blip has become his reality.
I think it's mostly an older generation thing. It seems like to me, anyway. I'm pretty
and seclusion.
I'm pretty connected, like, to to online, being online. So like, I only see this stuff mostly being in the older generation's issue because the younger generation now grew up. The internet was always there, right? Born and molded by it. The older generation, they were kind of, they know how to use the internet now and they're on it, but they were too old to be really in it. So they don't navigate that shit well. Like our generation, well, maybe not you, my generation, like I remember when the internet existed, like the inception of it. I was a teen and it wasn't easy to use. I was on IRC. I was on message boards. Like, it's not like today.
You had to log into the internet.
I had to log in. I had to... and then someone pick up the
phone,
and then you're off.
Ding.
Yeah, and then someone pick up the phone in the house, and you're fucking middle jerking off, and you're done. But
were you done? Was that the immediate climax?
In between buffing,
dude, waiting for 5 minutes for one picture to load—that's a real fucking thing.
Yeah, that was OG, man.
And it was pixelated afterwards.
Yeah, I remember that episode 2 trailer. I'm trying to get it to download. I started it the night before, went to sleep, woke up to watch it.
It was normal, but so we are the real in touch with how the internet works,
well, I think kids. I think not to cut you off, and I'm gonna let you finish, but I think it's the people probably like 10 years younger than us that are really.
Yeah,
that are really us. I feel like
some of us.
Yeah, but some of us more than others. Yeah. But I feel like we had to kind of get into it for the most part. We had to train ourselves and to kind of stay. You obviously were ahead of the curve, but I think mostly, like I can tell you when I did Burn, I wanted to kill that dude.
Yeah,
I wanted his head on a platter. Like because in my head it's like, no, this you say something, you fucking mean it. You know, like, and it was like, no, and then like, it was only over time and exposure where I'm like, oh no, people just say whatever they want on the internet because nobody holds themselves accountable.
Yeah, but I mean, what I was saying was to say that like some of our generation, and especially our generation and younger, can navigate the internet and probably discern reality from the net more so than anyone older than us.
Probably. But you still see
internet is your ally.
But you still hear kids committing suicide and stuff for being picked on online.
But that's real. That's not false reality. They're really being picked on.
I think
they're really being picked on, but
by people they know.
Are we sure about that though? Are we sure that 100% it's that?
It's targeted cyberbullying. Usually, I'm not 100% sure, but that's when you hear about it.
Because I could see somebody putting up a picture on Instagram and then everybody attacking them for something, and you know what I mean, like a picture of themselves, like a little selfie or whatever. And if it wasn't a private account, like strangers just being like, "Look at this like horse face," you know what I mean? And
yeah, I mean
that's not. There might be, but that's not what you usually hear about.
I agree. I agree, but I am curious about that now.
So, were you talking about the other side of the spectrum, where like our parents' generation is like you said? I mean, you often wonder like, who the fuck is falling for this clickbait bullshit?
It's them.
Yeah,
it's
who
the
gets
older
a phone
generation
call from the Social Security Administration and then wants you to call a different number to give your number.
And then they do it,
or like that guy that called me. What's your credit card? JCPenney card. Give me the number.
Yeah.
Or any of these infomercials.
Or the IRS.
TV. Yeah.
The IRS.
Yeah. IRS is not calling you.
No,
they're sending you a letter.
I mean,
and it's going to look certified as fuck. All
so
sorts of symbols.
People, it's not the fucking younger generation that's feeding these.
I tell you, if you ever just need a random laugh and have no other content, go to like NBC News Facebook and read comments on shit.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, my God. The people are just so... I mean, this girl was talking about Trump. However you feel about him, this girl was like, I can't wait till we have a literate president in office. And I'm like, well, look, didn't she? I go on her Facebook. She's bitching about how Taco Bell doesn't pay enough to...
right.
Like, really? I mean...
So let's transition into this beautiful thread that you came across on TFW.
I actually just pulled it up here.
Beautiful.
So you want to take a break? And
I'm going to grab my phone while
okay.
Yeah, we can take a quick break. All right, we're looking at them live.
So I stumbled upon this page the other day on TFW, and I don't remember why I was here, but it's Transformer boudoir photos. Let's see some sexy pics.
What's the date on the first post?
The first post is March 25th, 2015.
I like that is this the first post?
This is the first post.
I like it says, I have found the need to add rules to this thread.
Right. So a good rule of thumb is to ask, if this pose/photo were of a real person, could it still be on the cover of a non-porno mag? Don't go all Kiss players and ruin this for those of us who are having fun. So the first one is this sound wave that's posed ever so gently on the bed with his...
So he has like his hands, his head on his hands, and like his feet are behind him, like up in the air. Like, this is crazy, dude. I'm trying not to be judgmental, but this is fucking nuts to me. Maybe I'm a dinosaur. Maybe now I'm my dad on the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, there's one of...
come on,
I think that's the same person posting.
Hey, man, it's showing off the articulation of these figures.
And let's say the Chug stuff does not pose as well.
Oh, see? You can see how good the figure is by how well you can pose the motherfucker.
So I'm going to go to the 42nd page, which is from Monday. And I'm
any of that? Anyone with the RC boob add-on kit?
Well, no. Oh, here's an RC. And they're always posed on some sort of bed. It's the kind of bed you might sell Marvel Legends.
It's cleaner. It's cleaner than the Marvel Legends bed.
My man cared about the wrinkles in the bed, like in the shadows.
There might have been
photographers, bro.
Yeah, dude.
There's art.
This one's actually kind of funny. It's
MP44
sassy. With one half of his
That's
chest
recent.
open. Yeah, I'm saying this is from there's one yesterday.
It's a 4 year. That's a strong.
Oh, here we go.
thread.
Strong thread.
Here's some sort of pillow buddy that's got his
Gross.
Optimus Prime on. So, we could go to what's that page? Oh, that shit, Tumblr, and you can find all sorts
I'm
of.
sure.
Tumblr died, I thought.
No, just the porn.
So Tumblr died, I thought.
Okay, you're right. I got rid of my account.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't get it. This is not my.
It's too strange.
Your face, your face is like, this is icky.
Because, you know what I find? So like, not to make a drastic comparison, but you know what I find distasteful is sexualizing non-sexual things.
Yeah, I agree.
Like cucumbers?
That's a good point.
Right? I'm good with that.
That's a good
Bananas?
Point. That's a good point. That's a good point. But maybe because that has a real sexual undertone of like that people use that. You know, like it's, you know what I mean? Maybe that's where that comes from.
Here's some Siege stuff showing off that.
But that's a good point.
Maybe
I'll give you that. I'll concede.
Maybe it's not space mud after all.
Oh, Christ.
The Siege stuff. Look at this one.
There's got to be a similar thread, but with 1/6 figures.
What a hot makeout sesh. You know, I've gone up and down the Sideshow Freaks forum, which that's the name of it, and I can't remember ever seeing anything horribly.
Yeah, I just don't get it, man.
Look. This one is there's chains involved.
Oh wow, that is a lot of work. That's like bondage.
Yeah,
like the hands are tied together, the ankles are tied together.
Yeah, so there's a whole nother world out there. I remember the first time I knew fan. Is that enough? Are you guys?
Yes. Could you email me that link so I can add it to the notes? I just need to add
professional users.
Yes, add it to the notes.
The first time I had ever known that fan fiction was a thing,
or send it a message.
I'll do that probably. Yeah, email.
Yeah, only because I have to email them.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, I know.
I can send it to you.
It doesn't matter. It's easy. It's easy over.
Oh, were you distraught when you found out what fanfic was?
Well, no, I was in the 9th. I remember I was in the 9th grade.
Okay, so you did find out. Okay, you didn't find out that old. Some people are just recently finding out that there's fanfics.
I was in the 9th grade, and
I found out like a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's
there were these two girls that were in one of my classes, and 9th grade. Yeah, I was still probably playing with my toys at home, but I wasn't like advertising that. Oh yeah, I just picked up the new whatever. So these two girls like Transformers, and we got to talk a little bit about it. I remember this one girl. She said, I don't remember even how. So let me back up. My 9th grade was 3 middle schools combined, so it was a bunch of people I'd never met before. Right. So I mean, I still had my friends from middle school, but of course I made new friends. And there's this girl. I won't put her name out there, but she. I don't remember how we got in the conversation, but I had the Transformers soundtrack from the movie, and she had Simpsons Sing the Blues.
I had that.
Yeah,
on tape.
Do the Bartman.
Yeah, but there was another song on there. There was a Homer song on there I used to think was funny as shit.
We should look that up.
If you give me the track listing, I can tell you what song it was. But I used to think that shit was so funny when I was in 5th grade.
She wanted to swap dubs with me. She wanted me to make her a dub of the Transformers, and she was going to make me a dub of The Simpsons. I didn't really want it, but it was just like whatever. So, she bugged the shit out of me about it. Finally, I brought the tape and we swapped or whatever. And she had a friend who was of equal dorkiness, and I'm saying that as a huge dork at the moment. And I remember we were in 9th grade. 9th grade history. God, that class was rough. I got my first fist fight in that class. In the class, during class.
Nice.
And Mr. Griffin did nothing. He's like, "Hey, y'all stop it." That's all he did. Good old Mike Long. I wonder what he's up to now. I hadn't thought about that in years. But this girl, what was her name? Was it Megan? Meg. She had written a story where she was a unicron. What's on my mind? She was a unicorn, and she was having an intimate relationship with Rodimus Prime on the moon. And I'm like, this is wild as fuck.
Yeah,
I don't ever want to talk to you again.
I'll be like, let me talk to you some more.
I don't know, man. At the time,
you just whisper in her ear.
I think all things considered, if all your senses are to full capacity, you would have probably just kept your distance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Gotcha.
No, not, yeah, different world, different time. But that was the first time I knew that, okay, all right. I knew people were doing things outside the...
It goes left.
It goes hard left.
Let's talk about a bit all this Joker madness. Are you guys familiar with all of this?
What's the madness?
So I'm aware that apparently it's a very violent film.
Yes.
And there's some hesitations from some parties about how much that violence is necessary and how much needs to be shown in the theater.
So it has been...
It's a dumb question.
I agree. So it will not be shown at the Colorado spot.
Okay.
That theater's not carrying it. The U.S. military has warned service members to be on the lookout for potential mass shootings at screenings of it. According to Gizmodo, the warning was issued after the FBI uncovered social media posts related to extremists classified as incels about the film.
Of course it's incels.
Service members were instructed to identify 2 escape routes when entering theaters and in the event of an attack to run, hide, and fight. The FBI also noted that this was just a precaution and they are unaware of any specific terrorist plot or suspects. We do this routinely because the safety and security of our workforce is paramount. We want our workforce to be prepared and diligent on personal safety, both inside the workplace and out. So that's one part of it. Let me wrap all of this up. So we know it's not going to play at the Aurora Theater in Colorado. And then the last one is... Phoenix actually walked out of an interview in regards to it. He was speaking to the Telegraph to promote the film. Phoenix was asked if he thought that the Joker might perversely end up inspiring exactly the kind of people it's about, with potentially tragic results. Taken aback by the question, the star walked out of the interview before returning after consulting with his PR at Warner Brothers.
I don't blame him at all for that.
I don't either. So... There's two questions at hand here, right? The kind of chicken or the egg regarding this sort of stuff, and then what do we think about this film in general? So let's start with the chicken and the egg. What do we think, Joe?
It's not a problem. Mass shootings aren't a product of movies. Mass shootings are a product of sickness in our society. Like, is this movie only showing in America?
Right.
If it's showing all over the world and only Americans are worried about this shit, that's our problem.
Right, I agree.
I agree as well.
I think that's
the question of is the violence necessary is fucking dumb because it's a movie. It's necessary because that's what they decided they want to fucking make.
I agree there. Too.
Right, and you're correct. And as I sit here, I can look behind me and see 50 fucked up Joker stories. I mean, this movie, if it's violent and fucked up, is going to be, I mean, although it's in the parallel universe, kind of the norm. Joker does some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Some really fucked up shit. I mean, he put some on his fucking teeth and said, "There's your mom's smile. I kept that for you." It's pretty fucked up.
It reminds me of a Marilyn Manson quote. Marilyn Manson, I think, was on either Donahue or Sally Jesse Raphael very early in his career.
Weird flex, but okay.
And they asked him, do you think your music causes people to do what they do? And his response was, do I think music causes people to do what they do? No. I think people cause music to do what it does.
Yeah. Was it somebody?
Bars.
Somebody just had a recent thing recently to talking about R&B. I don't know. Was it T.I.? I don't know. I saw online. But like someone was asking why there's so much violence in music and stuff. Maybe you should stop it.
It's the world they live in.
Exactly. That's what he said. He was like, well, the music comes from the environment. If you want to change the music, you have to change the environment.
I mean, you go back to 1987, 88, NWA came out of nowhere, right? And they're showing the inside of street gang life in California. Now to me in Harvest, Alabama, and Bobby here in Baltimore, Maryland. obviously your situation was a little different than mine because you were seeing some things.
Yeah, but nowhere near.
But nowhere near. And I was, I was living in a cornfield.
Yeah,
so to speak, not quite a cornfield. It was cotton. Let's be honest, it was cotton. So
and tobacco.
Actually, that's that's a little bit further south. Nonetheless, it was a real interesting peek to another world, right? And I think that's why that music captivated so many people because it was so different, and but it was happening, and we didn't see that.
I think that's the important element of it. Is it was exposing something that was being kept quiet.
And but at the same time, what was the government's reaction to what they were doing? No, obviously you make a song called "Fuck the Police."
Yeah,
you're going to get the heat
for every action. There's an equal and opposite reaction. Yeah.
But even if you take that song out of the equation, they still had a lot of heat about
to go to Joe's point, if you look at New York in the 90s, in the body count of that fucking city and what was happening, like you weren't safe in Times Square. You weren't safe at Central Park. You weren't, like, that was common knowledge.
Yep.
And the music reflected that. But New York is a safer town now. Of course it has its spots. Of course it does. But it's a safer town in general.
Anyone can go to Times Square and not really worry about shit.
And the music reflects that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
not the same kind of things coming out.
The same kind of things coming out of it.
You have Alicia Keys singing New York.
Right. You know? I mean, like, there is truth to that, but even more importantly is that, like, I hate the way that we consistently take accountability away from the people responsible for their fucking actions.
It's because people are fucked up. They'll find an excuse to fucking do what they do, regardless of.
It's not Marilyn Manson's fault that kids shot up Columbine. It's not Metal Gear Solid's fault that people shot up Columbine. Like, it's not. It's the fault of the two individuals. It's like, you remember when in Batman Begins, when they leave the theater? This part makes me fucking tear up when I see it. But and then they had the funeral for the parents. And Bruce is crying in his room, and Alfred's like, "Master Bruce," and he's like, "It's my fault, Alfred. If I hadn't gotten scared," and Alfred's like, "It's not your fault. It's the fault of one man." Mm-hmm. That is the truth. You can say there are contributing factors to why that individual shot and robbed those people outside of that theater, but ultimately, what it came down to is one person's choice to take the lives of two people for goods and services.
Yeah,
you know, and
whether or not he had that intent when he walked up, that's what happened.
Correct.
And in a split second, you know, your life changes.
And we have to start. I don't want to get on a soapbox, and I'm not even the guy to get on the soapbox because I don't know fucking anything. But I just what I do know is, like, I'm going to blame the person with the finger on the trigger. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm not a big gun guy. You know that. Like, you know that about me. I'm not a big pro gun guy. Like, I'm not an anti-gun guy. Like, I'm kind of neutral. I'm kind of neutral.
Stay out of it, yeah.
But I say that to say this. I don't blame the gun. I don't blame the music he was listening to. I don't blame the video games he was playing. I don't blame the movies he was watching. I don't blame his abusive parents. I don't blame his poverty. I blame him. Mm-hmm. If we want to have a separate conversation about the sociological aspects that play into why certain people take certain walks of life, I'm down for that conversation. But that conversation, to me, exists independently from the conversation of whose fucking fault is it.
Yep. I mean, even something locally that happened. You guys hear what happened at the Frederick Fair?
Oh, my God, dude. Did you? Oh, my God.
So basically what happened is this.
This is the fair in the town, the closest city that we live.
Closest city to us. So this 59-year-old man was there with his family at the great the fair, and these two kids, it depends on who you ask, it's different, but I guess I can't ask him for $1, and whether, whatever he said, no, I don't have $1 or go to hell or whatever. And these two boys, they punched him and it ended up killing him. A 15, 16-year-old brother.
They punched him in the back of his head.
Yeah.
And he, went down. They called for emergency medical services. They had to fly him out. It was like a long, a significant amount of time from the time he went down to the time he went out, just because of the logistics of it. And the dude fucking died. And now you got these two kids. They've killed somebody.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah,
at that age, you should know better not to punch someone in the back of the head for no fucking reason.
I agree, and I definitely 100% hold them.
I wouldn't hold them accountable for fucking premeditated murder.
Correct, because that's not what they did.
No, right.
But
you have to be responsible for your actions.
Correct,
yeah, because that guy's dead.
Correct, and we have to hold them accountable. They are responsible for this action. However, I'm not sure if a 15-year-old knows that they could kill somebody by punching them in the head. I'm not sure if they know. Right. I'm not sure if I would have known that at 15.
They might not know, but you should know not to punch someone in the back of the head.
Correct. Agreed. But that's fucking nuts. and they haven't even seen the Joker yet, which is wild.
Yeah. They've heard of him, though, right? They've heard of him. And all these people fucking worry about incels, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, it's just legalize prostitution. Get some people laid. They might be happier. They might not be so fucking angry.
Legalize
they might. I mean, I guess half joking, half not.
You know what would be wild about legalized prostitution is how we would regulate it.
What do you mean?
Like anything that's legal has to be regulated. To
Yeah,
some,
yeah.
you know
But what's a difficulty you foresee?
So no, not necessarily difficulty. Just interesting to watch. Like how often do they have to be tested? What do the clients have to be tested? Like
everyone needs to be tested.
Do they have to be in tip-top physical shape?
Yeah.
I mean, is there cardio? You have to get cardio?
No, because you might want to.
I'm just saying, but
you just have to be a licensed professional like any other fucking profession.
I guess it's like a plumber. It's like a plumber, right?
Then you can go to college. You could.
What if there were commercials
Trade
on
school.
TV? Trade school and there's commercials on TV. I don't know.
Trade school.
Between that and legalizing marijuana,
Oh, you gotta
everybody
get your Con Ed credits.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh my god! But I think that's interesting. I think this Joker shit is interesting, and I hate how we weaponize pop culture
It's easy to blame it on that shit.
correct as a scapegoat for instead of addressing the real problem.
And the thing that sucks, man, is so. I mean, hundreds, maybe thousands of people worked on this film. You know, that's what they do for a living. And the best boy Grip, you know, that worked on the movie up to Joaquin Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. It's Joaquin. Yes.
I'm sorry. I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm having a hard time with the pronunciation.
You have to say it with a vegan accent.
So you're saying, to tie back around, you got to put a little extra sauce.
For 1,000%. Because that lettuce tastes like trash without it.
Yeah. Hey, I like some. I
like lettuce.
I think I could be.
I mean, let us be honest. I
mean, I understand you're really dangling a carrot here. And don't do the chicken and the egg again because that offends me twice.
I get it.
That offends me twice.
I get it.
All those people worked hard on that movie, and it just sucks that their work is going to be
overshadowed.
I mean, the same thing that happened with for what it was, the whole Venom thing with that Lady Gaga bullshit. I mean,
oh yeah,
remember that?
No.
When A Star Is Born was coming out the same weekend as, was it Venom? Was that the movie? It was some pop culture movie.
What I do know
out.
is that Venom, some people get him, some people hit him. Venom, going to get him. Venom.
Anytime I find myself listening to that album, I definitely skip that track. But you remember that? It was
Lady
trying
Gaga,
to
they want her movie to like perform
right.
better than his.
So they basically venomized the whole situation. It's
made it toxic.
They did.
It's poisonous.
Yeah, there's like a Britney Spears track. Taste on my lips. Yeah. I've never been on an airplane where they dress like that.
Never once.
I'd probably fly those friendly skies.
If prostitution's legalized, we might have that.
Remember, like 45 minutes ago when we were having serious talks?
Yeah, and we had a real serious one.
I'll be honest with you, I like both.
Yeah. I think it balances everything out. Did you know Matt's selling T-shirts? Shout out to Matt.
The balance on the force is having both the dark and the light.
This Hill Hasbro keychain reminded me.
I still have that shit. I still use that shit for box opening.
I've lost mine years ago. So what I was getting at is you hit the nail on the head that they're weaponizing pop culture towards agendas, and that stinks, man. Because at the end of the day,
it's 7 p.m.
For some.
Close.
12 a.m.
Depends on the shift you work. Now for me, it's probably 3:30.
What you were saying?
I think that we've got to figure out as a culture how to be able to have things we can have fun with. I mean, even I'm looking around here, looking at your Star Wars, the modern trilogy, and how much.
Oh my God, dude!
How much venom there is towards that, and why? Enjoy it, or just don't.
I had a guy recently tell me that the reason why The Last Jedi is not a good movie is because they crammed their animal rights activism down my throat.
No, there is. There is a segment in there where they're on the gambling place.
Yes. No, I understand where he's pulling that from. I get it. But I think taking that as the takeaway of that movie is crazy.
No, and you're completely right. It was heavy-handed the way those animals will run free forever. But whatever Rose said.
I just thought she just wanted those. I really didn't watch that and say to myself, like, when I get home, I'm going to make a call to the Sarah McLachlan people. And I'm going to do something about these animals. I didn't. I was just like, I was in the world, and I was just like, all right, yeah, let them fucking in there. Yeah, let them fucking raise
Have
them.
you ever been in the arms of an angel, Bobby?
Yes,
you have to ask yourself.
Yes, I have.
So yeah, that's like saying, yeah, they really they really took advantage of those animals they were getting the blue milk from. I found that horribly. And I'm sure there's people out there that said the way he was milking that animal was very cruel. It was very cruel.
Yanking on those titties.
Those teats weren't ready for that kind of abuse. They were tender.
I like when he looks over at her like, "Fuck is your problem?"
Right.
Fuck you looking
and
at.
he goes with the green staff.
Fuck you. No, not Luke, the animal.
Oh, the animal.
He's like, fuck you looking at, man. We're doing our own thing over here.
Okay,
Stay the fuck out of it.
You just do you. I'm going to do me.
I'm out here living my best Ox 2 life with Joaquin Phoenix.
But part of my problem with this is like, it's not genuine. With the blaming on the pop culture and with like the shitting on of the movie, a lot of it comes down to clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there are some people who, I'm sure older people who are like, yeah, violent movies and video games causes violence. But like a lot of these motherfuckers reporting and writing about it know better. They fucking know better, and they're doing it just because they know it gets attention.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I agree. I just think that it's unfortunate that. I cut myself off, and I'm gonna let myself finish. But
wow, you've reached the pinnacle.
Yeah, that is.
I went to my kids. My kid won an award today, a very prestigious award, the Character Counts Awards. Yes, I know. Well, look, it's a weird flex. I understand, but she won it for being responsible. So I went to go attend the ceremony, and I brought her a little Happy Meal. She had chicken nuggets and French fries, and I get to sit up on the stage with her while she eats, and she gets to look down at all the peasants that didn't win. And
she'll love that.
So I took a picture of it, and I sent it to my wife because she couldn't make it, and she said thanks and sent little heart emojis, and I gave her a thumbs up to that. And then she said, "How was it?" So I wanted. So the real answer is fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
But it's such a fucking strange question to me that I wrote back, "Amazing." She just responded, "Are you being funny?"
That sounds like a Cody response. Are you being funny?
Oh God, I love her. So let's continue on. I forget what I was saying anyway, but.
And what do you think of the second part? We never got to the second part of your question. What do you think about a Joker movie?
Oh yeah. I gotta be honest with you. So I got tickets.
I saw in the chat and the.
Yep. So everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody knows what time it is. I don't think I'm going to like this movie. Look, I'm just putting it out there. Like,
I didn't think you would.
I want to like this movie.
I'm almost to a point now, Bobby, where I just expect you to. I'm going to be surprised if you like this.
Because I want DC to win. I'm a DC fan. I want DC product that I enjoy and want to watch over and over and over again. It's very gratifying and rewarding for me to see something that you love on the screen and something else. But I know I've kind of hinted at this before, saying there's something about it. There's something about it.
I think there's two things. Joker shouldn't have an origins. You don't need an origins Joker movie. Mm-hmm. And two, what is Joker without the Batman?
So I think both of those things play a part. I'll tell you what else I think plays a part. It doesn't fucking look like Joker to me. It doesn't fucking feel like Joker to me. It feels like a psychotic guy who wears a clown makeup, but not the Joker.
It's like an Insane Clown Posse movie.
Side story.
Magnets.
Right. They were being interviewed on Howard Stern, and somebody called up to the Howard Stern show.
Well, is that where they were doing the march?
I don't know.
You know about the Juggalo March, right?
I don't.
So
it was the last year.
So Juggalo.
This was some time ago. This was years ago.
A total sidebar. And this was like last year.
No, that's what I said. It was last year.
Last year.
No,
I'm saying this interview was years
well,
ago.
there was they marched. Basically, being a Juggalo got
put on the watch list.
A watch list for gang activity, to the point where like there's basically no rules if you get pulled over and you have a Juggalo hat on. They can just assume you're a gang member and treat you as.
Meanwhile, Tekashi's running around here crazy. You know?
I know, right?
Gangster life chose him.
That's right.
That's a fact,
right? He didn't choose the gangster life.
I'm just waiting on him to say, "Okay, somebody make that meme."
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were saying.
So somebody called up and was like, hey, were you guys, hey, Insane Clown Posse, you know, fucking, it was like a super New Yorker guy, and they're like, hey, what's going on? You know, their voices. And he's like, hey, were you guys down at the Garden last night? And they're like, nah, man, no, we weren't at the Garden. He's like, oh, okay, because me and my pals, we were down at the fucking Garden. We saw a couple fucking clowns hanging around. I was like, I bet you that's Insane Clown Posse. Let's go kick their ass. Like Howard Stern had to hang up on him. But like, I love it.
I'd tell you, man, Juggalos. Yeah, I wouldn't. If I saw, I wouldn't bust their balls. Dudes are fucking not those dudes, but like their fan base is rabid.
Yes, they have.
It would have to be at this point.
They have a strong.
To still be.
They have a strong high.
Have you ever seen videos from The Gathering?
Yes, the thing where they had to pay in Juggalo bucks and all.
Well, that's genius.
Yeah, for sure.
But not that, just like interviewing people that are there.
But
and
that event.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's white trash supreme.
What do you think
Like
is?
it's like a taco with extra sour cream on it. It's the white trash supreme.
I would love to have a conversation about what are the hives that you would not want to piss off.
And well, see, there's two different ways to look at that. You know, on the internet. Are you doing like who would you want to piss off in person?
Well, so I think that conversation, when and if we have it, should be just kind of in general, because like we get on the internet a lot every day,
right?
You know, like I may not end up in Michigan, like to you know what I mean. So like I could piss off the Juggalos and they just be pissed off, be like, I'll catch you when I see you, motherfucker. And I'm like, I'll stay out of that state, no problem. You know, but I know they're everywhere. It's just a joke. But like I feel like if I piss off the Beyonce hive, like I'll never be able to log into anything ever again.
Yeah, they're pretty rabid.
Yeah. Eminem Hive. They're pretty rabid. Look at Machine Gun Kelly's fucking album review.
Oh, really? Is it brutal?
Half a star.
Is it really?
Yeah, and just obliterated in the comments by people that probably never heard it. I myself included. I previewed it. But because of that. Anyway. Joker movie. I feel like so. I keep shouting this dude out this episode, but that's okay. He's doing a lot of work for me, so I'll pay him shout-outs, much like the Peanuts said. So he hit me up and he was like, dude, I feel the exact same way about Joker, and I haven't said it to anybody, because everybody, the vibe about it is that you're supposed to love it. You know,
because of everyone else's reaction.
Yes, because and it has like a serious tone, like the tone and the vibe and all that does feel right to me. But like he was like, it feels like a Joker movie for normies. And I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I could see that. I mean, at the end of the day, goddamn,
movies are for normies.
7 p.m.
Fuck. That's what's all this shit's
Joker's.
for normies.
I mean, the movies are meant for normies, unless it's an indie film. If it's supposed to be a blockbuster, it's for normies.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a balance though. Like I feel like Endgame, just to be objective, right? I'm not a huge fan of Endgame, but I feel like that's definitely a balance between the fans and the normies. You know,
yeah.
And the vibe I'm getting from Joker is like, look, we're not worried about this as the history of this character. We're not worried about anything regarding this character other than the fact that he wears makeup and he kills people.
I mean, you've said pretty much since we saw the teaser trailer that you thought this was a movie for normies, because you said normies were hitting you up. Dude, you see the Joker trailer, dude?
I could go through my phone. You wouldn't believe it. I'm hearing from people I haven't heard from in years. They're like, dude, I know you're pumped about it. I know, and like, I don't want to let them.
Be like, yeah, man.
Yeah, that's usually what I end up trying to send. Is like, yeah, well, you know, we'll see. You know, like, yeah, like, you know, fingers crossed. I send the fingers crossed emoji, one of my most popular emojis in my frequently used.
Versatile. My thoughts is this is a gift and a curse to what you guys end up having, is having a DC non-unified universe. It's because non-unified universe, you get to have any movies. They don't have to be related to each other. You can have the single one-off movies that are great. But then they get the freedom to do whatever the fuck they want.
Well, I mean, DC for years has had a subdivision, rather. It's called Elseworlds, where it's just take Batman and put him in a world where like church and state never got separated.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the movie universe now. Yeah. It's not unified. They finally decided, right?
Yeah.
So this is what you get.
But I feel like
this week they've decided.
So even like Red Sun, right, which is a very different Superman, a very different Batman. Like you can see the character elements of who those characters are still there. They're just like there's a different lens on it, you know. And this one, I'm not getting the Joker from this character at all. Like if you were to show me a picture of him and I knew nothing about it, I'd be like, what is Joaquin doing with the face paint? What's he doing? Is he doing a rap album? What is this? You know, like, because he did. Remember, he did that rap album,
Right. Yeah,
But-
he did that crazy self-exploration thing.
But like, it doesn't feel like the Joker to me, and I'm hoping to go in and walk out like, you know what,
You're wrong.
I was wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
you can be.
yeah, 100%.
Because it's just impression right now.
Correct. And
Maybe the suit and the green hair is good enough.
I didn't have any high hopes for Deadpool, the first Deadpool, at all. I thought it was just going to be, you know, my balls on your chin, my balls are on your head, my balls are on your shoulder. Here's my balls. Like, you know, that's what I thought it was going to be. And then I was like, this movie's fucking great, you know. So like, it does happen, but this one, man, this one is like, it's almost like there's that the angel and the devil on my shoulder, and the one is saying like, don't get excited about this.
Jimmy the Cricket.
Jimmy.
And then Tommy Pickles is the other one.
Which one is the good one? Which one's the bad one?
We don't know. That's the fucked up part.
You don't know.
They just whisper things in your ear.
So Jimmy the Cricket is like, how you doing? I wouldn't get yourself too worked up over this. The first time this fucking movie starts going wrong, you catch a yellow cab out of there and you fucking go get yourself a slice. You know what I mean? That's what Jimmy the Cricket is telling me. Yeah. So, all right, moving on. Enough about Joker. I did get tickets. I'll be there October 3rd. We'll probably do a Patreon thing immediately after here. So far, just Phil and I.
I'm going to hopefully see it over that weekend. My wife wants to see it, so I'm going to take her.
And maybe even a video. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Just you two right now? Oh, Dante's trying to make it, right?
Dante's trying to make it, yeah.
You guys should all wear face paint. Just fucking
I'm not going to do that. However, I have been thinking about my Halloween costume recently. And
I ordered mine.
I'm going to go one of two ways. God. I'm either going to go heavy. So both are relatively light in the costume department. But one is heavier on the costume, and one is heavier on the kind of makeup and all of that kind of stuff.
See, I did not want to do. I told my wife, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to wear.
I wanted to do a clown.
Makeup.
That was a lot of makeup.
Oh God, yeah. So that was brutal.
That was great though. It looked great.
Yeah, you look great.
Mine will be first impression shock value will be that's the element that I'm using this year. Are you guys going to be able to make it?
I'm not sure yet. I have to ask Krista.
Yeah. I am. One is going to be expensive. One is going to be challenging. Is kind of where I'm stuck at the moment. So we'll see. All right. So games for Mr. Pink.
Oh boy,
the Mr. John Wick. How do you feel?
I'm very confused about this game. What is this?
I'm guessing it's.
Is it like some? Is it on Steam or something?
It looks like a handheld. Like
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm very confused. But the color. Yeah, there are a lot of bright colors in it. But if you look at the way those movies are filmed, they use color constantly.
Yeah.
It's constantly dumping reds and blues on you.
Are you at all interested in this?
Honestly, I'm very confused about what it is.
Remember the last game he beat was from like 1998. So
yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, other than maybe a Mario game, can you beat Mario Kart?
Mario Kart. That's probably a campaign
If
mode.
anyone says, well, I guess you can get 5 stars on every course on 200 and beat it. But if anybody says you want to play video games, I'm going to say I'll play Mario Kart. That's normally my answer. But if I'll look into it and see what it is. If it's like canon and there's going to be some storytelling elements to it, I read that god awful comic book for Christ's sake. So
right, you did.
I'm all in on the Wick.
And then the last note that we have for the day is Watchmen series will avoid moralizing with its social commentary. So it says, I think perhaps your boldest move I've heard about so far is Regina King said about in an interview that you are not diving into very hot button topics, that you are not only diving into very hot button topics, but you're handling them in such a way that viewers can read whatever they want into their meaning. You're avoiding moralizing at a time when popular entertainment is terrified of being misunderstood because there's such a willingness online to accuse artists of bad intentions. Is that accurate? And does that kind of freak you out? And the response was, the read is completely accurate, and yeah, it freaks me out. But when I'm freaked out is when I get excited. I can't write or create from a nervous, scared place. If you stop and try to talk yourself out of doing something that might be upsetting or might make people confused or uncomfortable, you're never going to get anything interesting. You have to jump in with some degree of forethought and responsibility, and then afterward you can ask yourself why you did it. The time for contemplation is not at the edge of the diving board, because going back from the ladder is worse than the distance to the pool. Bars.
Shout out to Craig's sister, by the way. Regina King. Craig, Friday, that's his sister. Look at all the horses missing their hair around here.
So
my track slipped.
So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with addressing issues and then leaving it up to the audience to interpret them and hopefully discuss them.
So here,
Yeah, that's the thing. If you leave it up for discussion, you think about it.
Correct. And I think that's what the Watchmen kind of does in the books. Is it raises these questions of, what if it went this way, or what if superheroes were really here? Would it be all truth, justice in the American way, or would it be something darker? If we give people this power, this social power, what would happen? And it doesn't say it. Like, for instance, there's some of them that stay tried and true, and then there are others that go left, but it creates the discussion. You know what I mean? I think that's more important.
So I will say this, and I might want to get a little distance between me and Bobby. I've actually never read The Watchmen. I've seen the movie. It's been a very long time. I see he's motioning to me that he wants to make love to me, I think. But just with one finger. It's very, very odd gesture. Must be a Baltimore thing.
You should read it.
I probably should. And actually, I want to read the Button storyline. I know I probably need to read The Watchmen first.
Yeah, I want to read the Button storyline as well.
Oh, I thought you had that.
Well, I thought I did, and then it ended up not being because they haven't. I don't even think they've done it. I don't think
they
haven't
put it. Okay. So saying that to say, is this supposed to be new material set in this universe? Is that the angle here? And forgive my ignorance. Sorry, Phil. I don't read everything you try.
Yeah. So my impression is that it is a sequel to the comic, not a sequel to the film.
Okay. So basically, it's the film has nothing to do with this.
No Rorschach?
No, there's like a cult of Rorschachs.
Yeah, I did see that. So
which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this question. You are a Hollywood actor. Mm-hmm. And
Tinseltown, baby.
Yeah, big city, bright lights. Let's say that you come in and you read for Watchmen.
Mm-hmm. I can't. I'm Asian.
Okay, sorry. You could be a Rorschach.
There's no Rorschach.
You could be a cult member.
You could be a cult member.
I do take me some cults, so.
There's a cult in Yellowstone. I don't know if you're talking about that.
Why Yellowstone?
They've owned property next to it.
It's a White Claw cult.
It is. Yeah, there's no laws when you're drinking claws. You guys not heard that?
Never.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not in that deep.
Yeah, that's the most white girl thing.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, aren't you waiting on the pumpkin spice?
That's the best thing I've heard today.
Where the hell was I? Okay, so you're a Hollywood actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get hired. You go in and you read for The Watchmen. And you're not writing this material. You are directed to do what you do. You are dressing the way that they put these clothes on you. Like you just read that piece from Regina King. I guess I'm a little confused. Is why do they have any input? Or who the fuck cares what she thinks about this material she didn't write, and she's doing what the fuck she was told to do because she got hired to do a job?
Well, I think that she's just commentating on it. Like, I think that she's just saying that they're not, like, look, this is not what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and it was probably in some press run.
Yeah, and that you're right, and that's where this shit comes from. A lot of these because I think a lot of the time they get asked these super baited questions, and then it becomes this clickbait bullshit.
How important is a press run to a rollout these days?
I don't give a fuck about
Me
a press
neither.
run. You know
Zero.
what? You know what press run ends up doing? You might see something if you're flipping TV in Entertainment Tonight or Access Hollywood.
If you're flipping TV.
If you're flipping TV. Or you're going to see it on goddamn comicbook.net or whatever. Thanks, Phil.
You know what's funny?
Love you, Phil.
No, thanks Dante for when he summarizes things in the comment section. You know to click that shit.
Yeah, that is the.
I love that.
The Dante Phil tension between why you post this bullshit kind of cracks me up, but it's great because it works.
But sidebar, I actually do that now when I see clickbaity things like CBR or whatever. If I'm interested in it, I go to the comment section. Somebody, multiple people will summarize what it is. Like that's a thing that people do now.
Yeah, I do that too.
It's fucking great.
I do that too. Yeah. The I will say there's some point I was going to get to with that stuff. I know what it was. What I think is interesting is I think a trailer is far more important to a rollout.
You just mad about episode 9.
I am, and I finally got to listen to Minority Report, and that's how I knew it was a decent conversation because I was screaming at my phone. I was like, Joe, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Which episode? The first one.
Where you're talking about, because you were saying, like, I like the way the Star Wars rolls out, that they hold back, and then give you a trailer at the last minute. And I'm like, that's the fucking problem, Joe. You want this fucking ship to go down? My wife was like, check your blood pressure.
How's your gout?
That's just my gout talking.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
Any gout?
No.
Wow.
No, but I do have a pain in my side.
Is that crab related?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
Any idea?
Oh my God.
Like 2 dozen? Did you put down 2 dozen?
I don't know. I know that I had one big pile in front of me that was cleaned off by my wife, and then I put another big pile there, and then I had crab dip the next day. But I think that it's interesting because I used to not really be into trailers. Like when I was in high school or whatever, it was like, oh, that movie looks cool. Like if somebody tells me the movie's cool, I'll go check it out. But I used to be into the singles of albums. Like I want to hear the single, like, and then I'll make a decision as to the album. And now what's funny is ironically, I'm more interested in the PR run on an album than the single, and I'm more interested in the trailer of a film than the PR run.
Wow.
Like I'm more interested to see like some guy do an interview and be like, yeah, this is what I was thinking about when I made this record, and I'm like, oh, let me check out a couple songs. That does it for me more. Whereas with a trailer, now I'm like, okay, my appetite has been whet. Now I want to get into this trailer, so to speak.
So let's talk about press run for a minute. Mm-hmm. So and just these commentate, I guess the actors saying. Mm-hmm. So all time favorite movie, Bobby, what is it? All time.
True Romance or Empire? Okay,
let's just say it's True Romance. Mm-hmm. Let's pretend that comes out now in 2019. Do you think your mindset on that product that they put out would be different if all those actors and actresses were saying their nickel and dime pieces and for all these media outlets across the world? Because and listen, they might have done some sort of press tour for that, but it wasn't digestible. Like they were talking to the New York Times, they were talking to the London Telegraph,
fucking probably late night shows too.
Yeah, I mean
that was the thing,
right? And to an extent, it still is. You still have people going on Conan and Jimmy Fallon and whatever jackleg other ones that are out there. You know, whoever has a show this week, you know, just be glad they're not going on fucking Wendy Williams, if you know what I mean.
Dude, what's up with them legs, man?
I don't know.
She got the legs of an ostrich.
She does. She's like somebody wearing a pear costume upside down.
It's not untrue.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on that. It's my fault. But I don't know. I just think we compare these things. Like I think things that come out today is possibly being great pieces of art as from cinema compared to things like, you know, that came out 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
And they're received so differently and they're digested so differently. I don't know that it's fair to compare anything that comes out now prior to pre-internet.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the whole entire culture has changed.
Exactly. I mean,
the movie industry has changed.
Yeah.
It had to.
Yeah.
You know, and look, I remember 10 years ago, the movie industry will be dead.
I mean, Infinity War is the universal soldier of its day.
How's that?
Because the action movie genre has kind of taken a back seat to the superhero genre. Like the superhero genres are the big blockbuster action movies of our day.
Yeah.
But I don't see how you're comparing them.
Because Universal Soldier was it was a big deal for its time. Like it was Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he's going to be doing some kicks, and he's going to be doing some flips, and now we're watching Spider-Man do it.
Right. Well, okay. Yeah, I see that.
So I mean, I think the whole industry has changed, and like shit doesn't stay around anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like in like the lifespan of a movie in the theaters and stuff is short. And
yeah, I mean there's so much more.
Yeah.
So much more. I mean, it's
plus you got Netflix competing, and you know, like it's crazy now. Original programming from HBO. It's like there's plenty of stuff that HBO is making that's better than stuff that's in the cinema.
I mean, I don't doubt that. I mean, you can see how that has changed. Not necessarily just Netflix, but television in general. I mean, you look at some of the actors that are on television now that. It seemed to be a big stigma, I'd say 10 years ago. Like, oh, you're doing TV.
Right.
Oh,
right.
God.
Yeah.
And now you see big time actors doing these series, and
because that platform I think has matured.
Well, and it used to be you do daytime soap operas, you do an hour drama or a cop procedural or whatever on NBC, and then you're the top guy. Well, hey, you make a movie.
Well, there was this period where I think HBO with stuff like Sopranos and Sex and the City was doing so well that you started to see regular channels start investing larger budgets into their programming.
Yeah. I have no doubt that HBO single-handedly changed the industry.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
With Sopranos and I mean, you go to The Wire and
that era of regular TV with like 24 and Desperate Housewives and shit like that. That was like they were credible shows. They weren't seen as just TV shows. And it's like around that time is when it started to change. And it's kind of the how convenient everything is at home now is just it's had huge ramifications.
It really has.
Let's get into some questions. And our first one is from Paul C. This might be an interesting one. Who is your porn star of choice back in the day? Who is your porn star of choice now, if you can say that you have one?
Oh, man, this is a long discussion for me.
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't had many. I'll tell you, like, the first porn star that I ever came across that I was like, this is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. And, like, I'm not obsessed with her, but, like, I'm into her, was Aria Giovanni.
Oh, yeah.
But she only did girl on girl.
Yeah, and she peed one time.
I didn't see that. I'm okay with that, but I didn't see that. I'm also okay with not seeing it. I'm just okay with all of it. But like, she was the first one that I noticed that I was like, this girl's special.
That's classic. I'm surprised you know that name.
Yeah, and then the only other name that like really comes to mind is like somebody that I was like I like her because of she was a very voluptuous woman, which I'm attracted to, and she was also. See, I think that most times in professions it comes down to knowledge, skill, and ability. Okay, and I think
fair,
and I think that she was able to check kind of all those boxes, and that's Flower Tucci. She was one that caught my eye, and I appreciated her work for a long time. But I don't know if she's still active. But I'm not in the same way that I don't know names in Hollywood. When you guys are like, so and so, I'm like Thor. I'm like, oh, okay, I know that guy. I'm the same way with pornography, and most of the time now with porn, I usually watch amateur anyway. So like I don't know. I'm just like, man, whoever that chick was that worked to see her, she gets it in.
See, mine would be back in the day. It would be Jenna Jameson, no doubt.
She was a big time.
She was a big time, but.
And I guess today it would be Angela White. Everybody's familiar with her. Or not?
Yeah, I'm familiar with a lot of actresses.
That's it. I mean, I'm sure there's like you said.
What is back in the day, and what is now?
I guess he's talking about like the first time that you, could get it on your own. I would imagine that would be. I've
been watching porn for like.
Let's talk
25 years.
Let's talk about as an adult, Joe.
I mean, I've been an adult for 20 years. Okay. So when you're talking about back in the day, you're talking about 20 years ago. You're talking about 10 years ago.
I think my reference would be like the first. Yep. Yeah. When I could first I guess buy it on my own or rent it or whatever you were doing at the time.
Oh, Bailey J too. I forgot.
Right.
Is she still around? I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, she's still around. Got married though,
dude. So it's hard to say favorite because I like a lot of genres.
Let's just boil it down.
No, I can't. Listen, I'm talking about this. Okay. Y'all talking about your serious shit long enough. I'm talking about porn stars. So if you want to know what kind of sick fuck I am, all right? I don't like solo work usually, but this girl I watch, the only solo artist, so to speak, that I consistently check out, Siswet19. SISWET19. You can find her on Pornhub.
I'm gonna look her up real quick. That's Flower Tucci from the front, and then that's her from the back.
Oh yeah. So she's the only solo artist I watch.
You're gonna have to spell that for all the people out there. Again.
S as in Sam.
He said for all the people.
S as in Sam. WET19. So yeah, she has worked with other people, but she usually do solo work.
Any pictures of her that came up with clothes on?
Oh no, not at all.
Okay.
I think she's Czech.
Okay. Fair.
And Japanese Japanese and adult video would be Julia Boyne, but she's getting older now. But I like her older work. But that's in a whole other category because it's not the same as regular porn. And I don't know. For the regular stuff, I don't know. There's quite a few people I like. I like Sydney Cole. She's hot, but she's like the most vanilla actress that I like.
Mm-hmm. I was just checking up some of the ones you were mentioning as you were going through.
Yeah. This is on tape, so people can rewind and check it out.
Yeah.
Arwen Gold. but she looks a little bit used up now. But obviously, with what she does,
I'm gonna have to look. I don't know any of these people, Joseph. You're very knowledgeable.
I like porn.
I do too,
and I've been watching for a long time.
Oh, you like little.
I like
little petite
variety. Sis Sweat is not petite.
She wasn't. Arwen Gold is petite.
She is petite.
Yeah.
Julia is not petite either.
Julia Boyne?
Yeah.
I just looked her up. She's a little on the petite side.
Big old natural boobies.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Any other ones come to mind? I'm trying to think if there's any that there's some people that I'm like, goodness gracious, you're talented. But I'm not like Belladonna. I think is extremely talented.
But I don't. Yeah. But I'm not attracted to her
in any way. Christy Mack. Christy Mack, I think, is attractive. Like I'm into her, but I don't know much of her work. She got her ass whipped.
Yeah, but that's why she's known by now.
She can take a beating. That's awful to say, but I mean,
yeah. No, I mean, like, and I think that, like, because I followed her on the gram. And I followed her before the incident and then after, and I mean, her whole swag changed. Yeah. You know, like she's like a different person from that, which I get. I understand. Well, I can imagine to understand, I guess. I don't want.
And of course, everyone knows Sasha Grey, but she's been long retired. Do you know, like, with as famous as she is and as much work as she has been out, she only worked in the industry for like 2 years. 10 years
that's how
ago.
it is, though. Like, they say that, like.
But she did a lot. And she got super famous. She's like a star.
It's like 18 months, I think, is the average.
Is it, though? Because
I think
there's porn stars that, like Aurora Snow, I've been watching her since fucking 20 years ago. And
but how many?
I watched it from being a teen to being a MILF.
Correct. But
that is an odd swing. And another one I like.
Gage from back in the day, she's... See, you know. Yep.
Gianna Michaels, but she doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, she was around for a short time. I didn't like her attitude.
Gage, the thing with Gage is she kind of looked like Britney Spears during the Britney Spears era.
Yep.
That was part of the allure of her. Now he's getting so good.
People are like fast forward for the bullshit about fucking YouTube, about fast forward directly to the porn talk.
How do we transition to this?
Paul C asked the question.
Thanks, Paul.
Fellow Yellow, thanks. We could have a whole episode on just porn stars, man.
Yeah, Sasha Grey's alright.
Yeah, she's petite.
Yeah, I don't know her. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think she's like your type, but like
I like her face.
Yes.
Is that a weird thing to say?
No. For me, like faces are more important than bodies to me.
Yeah. Like,
because I've seen butter faces and they don't do nothing for me.
Sometimes those are the ones, though.
Put a bag over it.
All right. Then we have one from James G. He says, "What up, guys? I'm currently writing this from my death couch because when I'm sick, I'm not allowed in the bed. Could be the dreaded Mataba virus from Outbreak, bird, swine flu, or the cold.
SARS.
Or could be, or always the deadly man cold that women will never understand. And how I got to thinking of when I was a kid on a sick day. We'd always go to my grandma's when she had DuckTales on VHS, along with those bootleg VHS tapes of old Superman, Popeye, MGM cartoons. Sometimes she'd get her in-gauge scale train table out. We'd play Micro Machines and Battle Beast, attacking the tiny buildings, then finish the day with Bubble Bobble or Turtles on NES. That sounds like a fucking awesome day to me.
A fucking great day.
Yeah, I do that today.
As an adult, I lay here doing and touching nothing as my long-term baby mama sprays Lysol, lays out meals for me, and tells me not to touch the kids. the kids switch because she doesn't want them missing school. As soon as she heads to work, though, I'm grabbing that damn switch and putting on some King of the Hill or American Dad in the background as I wait for the meds to kick in. Anyhow, that's me, but what were your sick days rituals as an adult or child? So I'll tell you. My dad would go to Video Systems. Do you remember Video Systems on Dobbin Road? He would go to Video Systems and he'd get the same 2 movies every time, and I'd watch it. But I loved it. It's almost like the one thing I looked forward to about being sick was I was like, man, I'm going to get to watch these 2 back to back. Never Ending Story and the live action Jungle Book of its time.
Wow,
and,
really?
Yep.
Those 2, huh?
Yep. And those
not that they're bad movies, but I wouldn't think those were your top picks.
They weren't mine. I think the first time I was sick, he brought them home, and then the next time I got sick, I was like, "Can you get Jungle Book?" And then it just became like a tradition, and I always watched those 2. But I was not I was not sick very often as a kid. I'm not sick very often as an adult.
It's the vitamin water.
I've gotten a cold exactly 1 time since I started drinking that shit.
I think I'm getting the cold instead because I've gotten more sick since I've been drinking it.
Yeah, that's wild. That might be your body.
Oh, it's the reverse osmosis of the water is what it is, Bobby.
But yeah, I'm rarely sick. Usually if I have a problem, it's like a fucking problem, like gout or appendicitis or fucking shingles. Remember that shit?
Oh yeah,
You know, like
Or a broke back.
or herniated disc is what that was. Relax. But
There's no mountains involved. I don't know where you're getting some
well, no, I just want to be able to walk and talk and shit. But yeah,
didn't Kevin Hart broke his back? He's fine, right?
That's funny. I haven't heard anything about that.
there's some shit surrounding that situation.
There's something going on there.
Which I'm not going to comment on. I don't know enough about it.
I don't either.
But there's some shady shit to that if you look into it any deeper than the surface.
I don't recall anything particular about being sick as a child. I don't remember being sick a lot. And as an adult, I mean, I've got to be in a bad way to actually. I say this to my wife all the time. Is I ain't got time to bleed because I rarely will stop doing what I'm doing, even if I am bleeding. Like I had to super glue my hand together the other day and just kept on going. But if I'm down like in January this year, I was done for like a week. I was in bed for a week. First time that's happened. Probably I can't remember as an adult. So sorry, I don't have any. Chicken noodle soup. I like chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, that's good.
Because when you're sick. By the way, running joke in my house is anytime soup is mentioned, I always say, "You're not feeling great." My wife doesn't care for that. She likes soup a lot. So
okay.
I'm like, okay, it's a joke. I won't.
So my running joke with soup is when if I see somebody have it, I'll pick it up and put it a little bit closer and say, "Have some soup." And the reason why I do that is from the movie Paid in Full, when this guy shot and he's talking about getting out of drug dealing, and he's like, "Man, you're just not feeling well. Get yourself some soup." And
then decide to keep on dealing drugs. Like it's going to fix it.
Yeah. Okay. So rapid fire. Or did you do yours?
I don't get sick.
As a kid, you didn't get sick at all? Stay home from school?
I got sick in 1998, and I got sick in 2010.
Wow.
And when I'm sick, I'm fucking done. Like I'm like almost hospitalized.
You never were sick as a kid, like flu or anything like that?
I recall.
That's pretty impressive.
Like,
he wasn't allowed to be sick
because schools are like fucking germ labs. You know what I mean?
Not in Asia land. It's not.
I find that surprising. Shere Khan or Scar? Shere Khan for me.
Scar.
Ritz or Club crackers?
Club all day long. I don't really like Ritz crackers.
That's hard.
To me, it depends on the accoutrement. So
Ritz goes with more things. I'll go with Ritz.
If it's peanut butter, 100% Ritz. Anything else, I'll go with Club.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably take a saltine over either one, but
what the fuck is wrong with you?
Mayonnaise is too spicy.
I don't want to hear what you complaining about goddamn ketchup on steak again.
Because I like saltine crackers?
Yes, because you like saltine crackers.
I mean, okay.
Over Ritz and Club, especially.
That's fine.
Brunch drink, mimosa or Bloody Mary?
Bloody Mary.
I don't drink.
Mimosa. Which
Typical.
would you...
What?
I'll drink a Bloody... I'll drink a Bloody Mary anytime. I love a Bloody Mary.
I can't get into them.
Oh, my God. It took me a little bit. A guy I worked with, we were pounding them one night at an event. I'm like, let's go. We drank a lot of them.
Which would you have rather had as a child, the USS Flag or the Terradome?
What if I told you that I had them both as a child?
Did you really?
No, I didn't have the Terradome. I did have the Flag, though.
Really?
So, yeah. I prefer that's an interesting story how that came to my possession as well. But I think I've told it before. So, funny story. I was at a commonly called a dirt mall, an antique mall this past week, and they had a Sears catalog from 1986, I think. They wanted $35 for it, so I just flipped through it. USS Flag was $109 then.
Wow.
For comparison's sake, G1 Soundwave was $12.
Yeah,
so it was very expensive.
Man.
It was very expensive.
I would love to look at those prices.
Yeah,
and do an inflation check and
right.
Stuff.
So it'd be something that me and my brother, he's 2.5 years younger than me, so we're generically the same age as far as playing with toys and whatnot. So we never could get it. We were at a shopping center, and there was a store there called Hills Department Store. Anybody that's from like the Pittsburgh area, that's kind of where it came from. But there was a couple in Alabama where I'm from. And we were in there one time, and there was a USS Flag that had been opened. It was missing some pieces, like $35. Talked my mom into it. We get it. Loaded in the back of her Bonneville. They have to tie the trunk shut. So we're driving back through our neighborhood, and the bicycles followed us. Kids, oh my God, they got the flag, and it was missing some components here and there. You know, I don't
Nothing important enough.
I mean, it was the fucking 7 foot, but we had it, and we could put our ships on it and stuff. I remember in 9th grade, I sold it to this guy, Jim Jeffries, and
Jim Jeffries,
The Australian guy?
Oh my God,
definitely not. But years later, I ran into him. He's like, I've been since eBay, was something that we could use. I've been slowly piecing that thing together, and it's almost complete now. I just always thought that was a cool story.
Yeah, it is. $12 in 1984 is the equivalent of $30 today.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Like a Voyager class.
Yeah,
and it was a bigger one.
Yeah, and $100 was $250 today. Is today.
Yeah, but
That's
not
crazy.
but not 700.
Not 700.
Shout out to Unicron.
No, not 700.
But that's cool that he kept it and
Yeah,
he
kept it and he's been
refurbishing
working on
That's
it all
pretty
this
fucking
time.
cool.
It's nuts.
It went to a place with love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kind of
More than you gave
selling
it.
but I was in the 9th grade, and
Right.
$75 was $75.
Who gets their name confused more, Metroid or Zelda?
Zelda, just because she's
Zelda
more
for
well
sure.
known.
Yeah, I would say Zelda because people don't even know the Metroid. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's a much more popular franchise.
a lot of times with Zelda, you'll be like, no, he's Link. And be, oh, yeah.
No, Metroid is like the monsters. That's Samus in armor.
Right.
And I probably didn't know that till I was an adult. I probably
Yeah,
didn't
no, me
understand
neither.
it, 'cause I
Me
didn't
neither.
like that game.
I didn't either.
I didn't think it was great.
I didn't either.
I thought it was too hard.
Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Rolling Stones? I'm not a Beatles fan.
For me, it's the Beatles. I like the Rolling Stones as well, though. I love, there's this one song in particular. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head.
Painted Black's my favorite Rolling Stones song.
But it's the moment on the album cover where the guy's got the fucking baseballs in his mouth. Like the circus carnival picture where the dude has like the baseballs like in his mouth's like stretched out to here. You never seen this? Like a famous picture. Like the bearded lady or whatever. It's like this dude has like 5 baseballs in his mouth. It's crazy. The album is named after a street, I think. Like the Rolling Stones, like 33rd and 7th or whatever. Anyway, there's a song in there where the end it has like these like soul singers come on and they're like, you don't want to walk and talk about Jesus, you just want to see his face. It's my favorite Rolling Stones song.
Bobby's into the deep cuts, man.
Yeah, the sleepers. Okay, comic villain team up you'd like to see, or if it's happened, who was it? Ooh.
Onslaught. That's Professor X and Magneto teamed up, and they're both fucking villains to me.
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to give some more thought to that one. This is supposed to be one or the other, James. I can't handle this sort of. I've become conditioned.
Yeah, this is.
You have conditioned my behavior. I'm not ready for this type of question.
I'm trying to think of stuff I've liked, but I can't.
And I'm not a big team up guy. Like I'm kind of okay with everybody just being in their own little pocket.
What was that book?
You have legions of stuff, Doom
Yes,
and
yes.
Brotherhood of Evil
Yes.
Mutants and shit.
So there's, what was the one where like Batman and like Joker and Batman kind of switch roles? It's a recent book. Is it
White Knight?
White Knight, yeah. So the way that whole thing plays out with all the villains is I enjoyed the way that plays out, where they're all just kind of mobbed up, but
I kind of like how Hush, how all the villains teamed up for Hush too, because like in like once they got to the Jason Todd punchline of it, Joker couldn't refuse it. You know, he's like, oh, fuck, okay, I'm in. You know, like I kind of like that aspect of it, but off the top of my head, that's what I got. Nightwing's outfit, black and red or black and blue?
Black and blue.
Black and blue.
You're not gonna fucking look at what I'm wearing. You can't get. I can't pick anything but black and red if there's an option.
So I like it. I like those two colors together. Don't get me wrong, but that black and blue, something about it, man.
I don't give a
So-
fuck about that character. I guess that's part of it.
Maybe.
Doesn't help.
Duncan Hines or Betty Crocker?
Betty Crocker.
Betty Crocker.
If somebody's making me a cake, I'm just going to thank them. But I'll go with Betty Crocker.
First movie / show to give you a nightmare.
I got it. There was a Knight Rider movie that came like it was a special. It was 2 hours. And there was an 18-wheeler in some capacity, and I had a nightmare that my pillow was that truck. And I also had nightmares about Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, the bugs in your ear.
Yeah,
That fucked me up. I to this day won't watch that scene.
I think The Howling was mine. That's where the wolf like came out of the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucked me up as a kid.
I don't remember. I watched.
It's so
I
funny.
don't think I have any direct nightmares from watching stuff.
It's just so funny how our minds process that stuff into to what it becomes in a nightmare. It's crazy.
Preferred Mortal Kombat game ninja stylization.
Ooh.
So for me, I prefer the modern. He says for him it's MK4. They all had different face masks, but were relatively uniform in look. After that, some of them jumped the shark. See,
some of them depends on which modern ones. Some of them are better than others. Some of them are just way in the left field.
I agree, but I kind of like. What was that shit?
What?
That was
Popping my jaw.
you look Canadian with a floppy head.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of like how they
South Park.
They seem to much more have their own identity now. Like Ermac doesn't look like just a recolored ninja.
Yes,
he
yes,
has
yes.
his own kind of swag about him. I dig that.
I think I like X10. I think Mortal Kombat 10 is probably my
I
favorite.
don't have a
because it's like
opinion.
different.
Sorry.
They're differentiated and they're stylized, but they're not like the fuck out there.
Right. Okay.
I'll say 2. That's
Okay. That's fair. I mean, 2 is classic. That
I mean,
pleated, that pleated look on their.
That's 3, right?
No, that was 2.
Oh, 2 is
No.
still,
Two is quilt and fucking paintball mask and baseball shin guards. That's 2.
Yes, they
cosplay
had the,
much.
but I think they.
I mean, it's literally what it was.
I know.
I think they had the pleats and the. I think so. Hold on.
I think you're talking about 3.
Y'all talking about pleats?
I remember. No, 3 was
Not
when they had
again.
like the
blocks.
The blocks. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the stitching, the cross stitching.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about something. Okay.
We were getting ready to go to the mattress for that.
I said quilt. You said pleat.
Yeah. No, I get it. Do you like comic relief characters in your serious stories? Examples: Isidro with Puck in Berserk.
Oh, Isidro. Yeah.
Korg and Meek in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Jar Jar in Episode 1.
I think they serve a purpose.
I think
It depends. It depends. If they're throwing off a moment, then that's not good.
Yeah.
Like if it's a serious moment going on and they
Jar Jar throws the moment off.
yes, like it takes you out.
K2SO is perfect.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that.
Yeah. I don't mind comic relief. It just depends on how it's written.
Agreed. Mario Kart and kids. Play to win or take it easy.
I'm fucking them
Play to
up.
win.
Play to win.
I'll fucking lap them as many times as I can.
Hey, it's fun until you can't beat them anymore. Like
Right, well, see-
Mason, I can't. I don't even know how he gets so far ahead of everybody.
See, but that's the thing.
He almost laps people.
That's the
It's
thing
crazy.
is that like you only make them better by playing hard.
yeah.
Yeah, and like Charlie gets pissed. He's like, "Well, come in." Like me and Kelly will play, and he's like, "Come in third." I'm like, "Yeah, but you beat all those other cars. Mm-hmm. You just didn't beat the 2 people that have been playing Mario Kart for 20 years. You've been playing for
Right.
3 or 2 years or whatever."
Croutons or crackers for your soup. Speaking of which.
Crackers.
I want them saltines, dog.
Yeah. Now that's
That's
the
different.
only
Yep,
time I
yep,
take
yep.
a saltine.
Let me tell you a quick story.
It's about the way they absorb.
So last night, Kelly comes downstairs and says, "Hey, I'm making those Cheddar Bay biscuits from
Red Lobster.
Red Lobster."
You didn't bring none.
Yeah, how about that?
It'd be nice if there was any left, right? And I'm gonna warm up some soup. And I looked at her, and she's like, "Don't say it." I'm like, "Fine." So I come upstairs. I'm like, "Great, you're making the biscuits." So I went in the closet. I'm like, "We ain't got any saltines?" She's like, "No, somebody ate them all." And I said, "God damn it!" So Kennedy, my daughter, she doesn't eat for shit, but she'll eat like a whole ream of crackers at once. So we didn't have any saltines.
She's gonna get
I was
diabetes.
mad.
I mean, it's fine. She's young enough.
She's young enough to make.
No. The only problem with because kids are resilient. They can eat whatever the fuck they want. The problem is like drilling the habits into them so they don't become an adult with shit eating habits.
Sure, but definitely crackers.
Yeah.
Specifically oyster crackers for clam chowder.
Now, oyster crackers.
Yeah.
Oyster
What's
crackers are
That's
fucking
on
good.
point. That's on point.
But I'll take oyster crackers over a lot.
Yes.
Like, I'll just eat oyster crackers.
That's true.
They're fucking good. Preferred Spider clone, Ben Reilly or Kane Parker? Ben Reilly.
Dan Riley.
Yeah, that's the blue hoodie, right?
Yes.
Yes, that one. Because I don't even know who the other one is.
Me neither. Mainly. Where's Phil?
Pinkerton is the resident Spider-Man
that's
expert.
right. I forgot
apparently.
I'm the Spider-Man expert. Actually,
Mainly for Joe. Do you prefer more balanced Gundams, White Devil, Alex, MK2, New Zeta, or full over-the-top Edgelord, Destiny, Exia, Wing, Double ZZ, Unicorn?
God, all these unicorn. It's funny you say that because I don't think new would be balanced. I mean, it's halfway in between. I have a love of the quote-unquote real robot genre of anime more so than the quote-unquote super robot. And I fell in love with Gundams for the more real robot aspect. For me personally, I collect all the mono eyes because they're like grunt suits. They seem like soldiers, war machines that could actually be in real life. As much as I like the style and the designs of the super robots, and they're more powerful, I don't like them more. It's just like how my favorite jet fighter is F-14, but it's like way obsolete now compared to like the F-22 or whatever. But that doesn't stop it from being my favorite.
I see that.
Yeah. So the next one, favorite Batman team up partner. Mine is Superman. Like it's like second place is far behind.
Mine is Robin.
That's fair.
I like the Catwoman stuff.
Yeah, that's good too. That's good.
I like the Green Arrow stuff in the Dark Knight Return stuff as well. But it's just such a small little pocket. But I'd say Catwoman overall.
Favorite? Offense for the first time you got detention.
I never.
The first time you got detention. I took a paddling over detention.
Paddling? That's a paddling.
In Alabama, they swung on you.
Are you for real?
Mm-hmm.
They swung on us in Hong
the
Kong.
90s.
They beat us. They have.
Well, that makes sense to me. But
they made they have rulers they are like literally half an inch thick.
Yikes.
I'm like, you made those rulers so you could beat kids with them.
Yeah.
But they have measurements on them. Like you're gonna fucking measure with a half inch thick ruler.
I think it was Unique Toys made those.
So here's. Hey, turn off the ruler line. We got to run some aerobics tonight. I was in my senior English class, and we had a substitute who everybody called Big Bird because she looked like Big Bird. And Miss Lil, I remember her name now. The rumor was that she had caught her daughter giving somebody a blowjob.
Oh my God!
And the daughter had thrown up on the guy when she got caught. Who knows if that's true? But she was a substitute teacher, and her and I had kind of butted heads, in high school over the years. And I remember the junior class had made a paper mache tiger for the homecoming float, which made no sense to me because we were the Senators. I think maybe we were playing like a team that was a tiger, and I remember I put my feet up on it, like just thinking. It's like 2 months after homecoming, and why the fuck is this in my senior English class?
Right.
I just put my feet up on it. She's like, "You have to go to the office. You're going to get detention." I'm like, for what? And the assistant principal, Mr. Jacobs, I remember him very fondly. He and I got on. He's like, "Look, you can take detention. There's 2 licks." I'm like,
2 licks.
Give me 2 licks. Yeah, that was it.
I don't remember.
Where?
On the backside.
On
the face.
Did you bend over the knee? That's wild.
No, you bent over the desk. And he said, "Listen, go to your elbows, sink a little deeper." That's what your proctologist said.
I think that's too sexual. Like if hitting on the ass.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like they would take our palms and flip the fingers all the way back and hit our inner knuckles with the fucking acrylic roller. That's why they hit us because that's where it fucking hurts, but it doesn't affect you from doing stuff while sitting down, and it's not sexual like hitting your ass because spanking is just. There's a reason why that's the fucking sexual thing.
I guess, and maybe it's because people got spanked. I mean, did they not paddle in yours?
Hell no.
So I remember I probably got paddled 3 or 4 times. I mean, I remember like
getting paddled.
5th grade.
Wild.
5th grade. I mean, listeners out there, if let us know if paddling was a punishment in school for you.
Like saying the word.
Paddling, Madeline, Hadlin.
Paddling.
Me and Madeline was paddling a canoe.
Dude, as part of the story, like, would you take a blowjob knowing that you're gonna get thrown up on in the middle of the day, not at home? Like you're gonna have to walk around with fucking puke on your
in my house or her house?
No, you're at school. Or whatever.
Is it hot?
You're gonna have to walk around the rest of the day
Is
with
it hot
puke
out?
on your
No,
fucking lap.
No.
Is it hot outside?
I probably would have when I was 14 or whatever,
yeah,
but
yeah.
now, no, I pass on that. But if I'm at her house now,
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
In the house, it's different. In public, is
I'm sorry. We have a new Takashi meme. Real quick.
those are
the like, yo fam, those are the droids.
like his point.
Yeah. The fact that he's pointing at something is wild. I'm sorry.
It's all good. And then so mine, I don't remember the first detention I got. I got so many. But I have them. I have a lot of them. Like I saved the slips, and one day for Patreon, I want to read them off, like what I got them for.
You get papers for that?
Yeah,
Bobby got thrown up on today.
No. But like there was this one I got for forging a midterm progress report or something. It was one of the slickest things I ever did as a kid. So he gave me the midterm. I was failing. I took it home. I forged my dad's signature. I did a terrible trash job. I brought it back in, handed it in. He called me into his office and he's like, "Is this your father's signature?" Because I'm going to call him and find out. And I was like, "No, it's not." And he was like, okay, well, thank you for being honest. I'm going to call him. And I was like, look, give it back to me. Let me go to my dad and take full responsibility and show him what I tried to do, and handed it in, and, you know, really take the fall for it. You know, I made this choice and I deserve what's coming to me. And he was like, okay, that's pretty honorable. Okay. And he gave it to me. So he gave it to me. I went right home and I was like, Dad, I was thinking about forging this and turning it in, but I decided not to because it was wrong. Now I'm going to need you to go ahead.
That's slick.
Okay. And then last question. Oh, no. Funkhauser or Leon Black? R.I.P. Bob Einstein or Steen, depending if he's fine or mean.
I don't know who those people are.
Funkhauser is the comedian, I'm guessing, and Leon Black is a comedian, I think. I don't know. Mine is Funkhauser if we're talking about the comedians, because I like him on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I like him on Crank Anchors.
I have no idea.
No clue. Sorry.
Dr. Feelgood or Mr. Brownstone? I have to choose Mr. Brown. I don't have a choice, right? I've kind of committed to this, so I have to go with Mr. Brownstone, even though I will admit Dr. Feelgood is obviously the bigger record. I have to go with Mr. Brownstone.
I'm going to go with Feel Good.
Okay.
Me too.
I don't think it's the wrong choice, but I've committed. I'm in this to win this, and and I can't go back now, because otherwise I'll get a phone call from Jisk, and that'll be the end of that. All right, one last question, and this was sent to Chris.
Actually, this was sent to the Nerd Rage.
Oh, was it? Facebook.
Okay.
Which you have access to now and is in charge of, apparently.
I don't know about all that, but I did check the messages for the first time, it looks like, in a couple months.
Well, thank you.
It did ding on my phone. So
he said, since Joe will never know the trials and tribulations that go along with the joys of parenthood, I have a question for the panel. I'm much like you, I'm a very picky eater, and it does weigh heavily on me, as I'm sure it does for you. I feel bad that being as picky as I am, there are things that are just not picked up to eat because it would just be a waste of food and time, for one. Well, now we have a second mouth to feed, and I was actually pumped that my wife could have an eating buddy. But lo and behold, he is even more picky than I am. So my question for everyone except Joe, with a winky face, is have you ever had a problem with picky eating? Do you have any suggestions? And did you feel like a hypocrite telling your kids to eat something that you didn't want to? As always, love the show. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Could you pass me that cord so I can plug this in? Because we're dying over here at 18%.
Well, I mean, I think we've talked a lot about picky eaters and kids, and even today we talked about it a little bit with ketchup on steak.
Oh, yeah, with your fucking saltine cracker preference.
So that's not me being picky. Listen, you bring all three in here, I'm going to eat all three. Maybe at the same time. I might make a cracker sandwich. And that's the whitest thing I've ever said.
Sandwich is what you said?
You spell cracker weird. Listen, you act like three sorority girls at Kentucky standing next to each other is not a good look. But my kids are super picky, and I do not have any advice for you. I'm sorry. I have tried everything. Like, my youngest is picky, but he will try stuff. You're like, and he'll often ask, like, can I try that? He's like, it's okay, but I don't ever want to eat it again. But my daughter is just like, no.
But see,
I'm not eating that. No.
I think it's partially taste and partially psychological. If you're open-minded, some people just shut off from like want to eat stuff.
I mean, my brother growing up was super picky, but now he eats probably more. I mean, I eat literally anything you put in front of me, and he to most accounts.
Whoa,
yeah, it's pretty wild. In most accounts, he's you know, and I give a lot of credit to the girls he's dated and the woman he's married to now that, you know, it's like, hey, this is what I'm cooking, you know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, and
you're of course willing to try stuff when you're on like a first date or something.
Exactly, and that probably has a lot to do with it.
It's just a fucking life experience, man.
Here's one thing that I've noticed, right? As a kid, you know, eating red sauce, I hate chunks, and so my dad would end up getting like ragu or something that was like traditional or whatever to try to save me that problem.
Ketchup.
So it had little tomato slices in it, and I would pick them out with a spoon and put them on the side of my plate.
It's a texture thing for you.
Correct.
I've determined that.
Correct. So my grandmother, God bless her, just a remarkable human being. And if you've never been the center of anyone's universe, I highly recommend it. Used to strain my fucking pasta sauce so that she would get rid of all that shit for me. I never made a big deal about it with the kids. So I never said a word about it. I just poured in the sauce in the pasta and handed it over. and Jaina would take her fingers in and pick the little pieces out and stick them on the edge of her bowl. So, like, that shit is either genetic in some regard, or she just has the same hang-ups without any outside thing from me. The advice that I give, this is my advice to parents with kids, and the kids don't want to eat shit, which is most parents. This is what we do. We make one meal. We don't do separate meals. We make one meal. In that meal, we try to have at least one thing that we know they all like. It could be as simple as a roll with butter. We also have, a protein and then a vegetable, and then usually either a starch or a second vegetable or fruit. And we provide that. We provide the portion on your plate. You don't have to eat anything you don't want to, but you'll probably eat the bread because we know you like it. Or in some cases, the particular type of chicken, or in some cases, the particular vegetable or whatever. We know that you like this one thing, so you'll eat at least that one thing. Hopefully, you'll eat more. If you eat more, you get a dessert. If you do not eat more, you don't eat anything until breakfast. That's the rule. You don't, but one thing I've always been big on is I would never force food on my kids, because I had food forced on me, and it was unpleasant, to say the least, in the manner in which it was forced on me. So I was firm in saying, look, we will provide something. We know they'll eat something. And that's if they go to bed eating one roll, sucks for you. But you're not going to starve. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to get anything extra, and you're not going to get anything special. Mm-hmm. This is what we made. The day you want to start making dinner, you can make whatever the fuck you want for us as a family. But until then, you're eating what we give you, or don't eat it. But that's all you're getting.
Sounds like a really good plan.
That's what I've done, and I've done it with all of them since the one. But I also hold, and I don't know how other families work, but we also hold sugary shit as special. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not,
it's a treat.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of them. See, here's the thing: if you will eat your broccoli for an Oreo, then the broccoli ain't that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it was me, I'd be like, man, fuck that Oreo. Yeah. I don't give a fuck about that Oreo. And sometimes my kids do too. Like certain vegetables, like, they're not crazy about asparagus, but asparagus is something that we have regularly. And you'll see the kids forfeit the fucking snack. They're like, nope, I don't want any of that, and I'm good with no snack. Okay, cool, no problem. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
Before we get out, we do have something we want to pitch to listeners here.
The responsible one.
Well, I had
that's why it's weird to see you let loose at the party, because you're usually the responsible one.
It's true.
I have to keep that in mind. We talked a little bit about this. Had some changes here, so we want to do a contest. We want to do a contest for a new logo. Mm-hmm. So if you are a talented artist, or fancy yourself a talented artist, or are handy with the Photoshop or whatever, we'd like a new logo, and it can just be text. It can be some graphics.
It doesn't have to have.
It doesn't need to have. I honestly, my preference is it doesn't have anybody's face
character,
or any sort of
but
character.
We don't want to limit.
But we're not limiting anything. Just remember, I'm the tallest one.
She's also a box.
So if you want to do this, you want me to collect these, I don't mind doing it.
Yeah, sure.
You're the responsible.
So I'll give you my email it's Chris with a K, KRIS.Pinkerton, PINKERTON @gmail.com, or find me on social media either way. And let's say. Let's just say by the end of October. Let's see what we get.
That sounds fair.
And we'll try to remind you weekly.
And we'll have some sort of gift for the winner.
Yeah, we'll do something special. So, and thanks to everybody in advance that wants to help out there.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm anxious to see what people come up with.
Yeah.
Shout out to the rest of the Nerd Rage team. We got Maryland Phil on Twitter. We have Dante the Destroyer on Facebook. And we have Manny in the background. We have Gort helping us out with Force
birthday
Sensitive.
today, right?
Whose?
Is it?
Is it Dante's birthday today?
No, Manny.
Oh, is it Manny's birthday?
I think
I don't check Facebook. Yeah,
I think Facebook told me.
If it is, happy birthday, Manny. This episode is dedicated to Manny. Happy birthday, Mac. And then the rest of the Cool Table Network, Shattercast Uncut, End of the Realm, Beer and Bolters 401k, Stasis Lock, Toy Detox, Building Up to It, Fresh Communication, Verbally Challenged, and Breaking the Mold. Good show.
Yep.
Good show.
That was a good show.
With that, flap labius.
Tasty taint.
Tight dick player.